it's Batman Day today, or last week, I guess, officially.
It was Batman Day!
It used to be Batman Day. I'm the Podmeister Logan.
I'm Bitch Wrinkle.
Damn it.
Steve of the Boat King!
They have turned it off.
Oh, there we go. I was holding my breath, I almost blacked out.
And I'm Captain Rob.
It's irritating, isn't it?
All right.
No, I can't go after that.
Yeah, that's what you get. I don't know why. We got a big week in news this week. I got a lot of good stuff to talk about.
Really?
I'm going to open up with something I was very excited about. Wentworth Miller cast as Captain Cold for the Flash TV show. Very excited about this. He's a cool dude. I am. Yeah. As soon as I saw the picture of, obviously saw the thing and then saw a picture of him afterwards. I was like imagining those little tiny glasses on. I was like, as Captain Cold, right? I still don't know why he wears those fucking things after all these years. It doesn't make sense to me.
80s fashion specs or
yeah,
whatever
they're
the
like
fuck
fucking
This version's
Kanye glasses.
I was just about to say this version's going to wear the shitty Kanye glasses that were cool in the 80s.
He'll play Leonard Snart, which they kept his name, which I guess in my heart I kept thinking they're gonna change it because it's an odd name and no one wants to say the word Snart. But no, they
It's
kept
a
it.
last name. Fuck it. You can get away with anything for last names.
Well, like what's different, what's odd to me is that they changed Mark Martin to Clyde, which is like that's just the oddest thing to have done. But I guess his brother's name was Mark, so maybe we'll get to actually see Mark Martin as the Weather Wizard.
Good call.
With Reverse Flash or whatever, they didn't change the last name, just the first one, didn't they?
Well, maybe not. We don't really know yet.
That's true.
That's
Okay,
true.
based on our
Spoilery,
guesses,
yeah.
And that could even just be a nickname
shortened.
or something, or he's like, I'm going to go by this name.
Yeah.
Somebody will be like Aelbard, and he'll be like, just Eddie.
Yeah,
Eddie's
exactly.
fine. So we'll get to see him as a guy from Prison Break, if you're not familiar. It's pretty awesome.
He was in the third Resident Evil.
Was he? I
Who
don't
is he?
think I've
Nemesis?
seen him beyond the two.
No, I think he was Redfield.
Yeah? Chris Redfield?
Yeah.
Was he
I
right?
don't know why I said his
I'm
first
pretty
name.
sure.
There were two guys
Showing
with
off, I
very
guess.
similar.
I know that name.
I feel like he was. I'm on it.
He could be.
Keep talking.
But yeah, it'll be pretty cool. I'm excited. As we said, he's one of my very favorite.
I really wanted
Robes.
to have that jacket thing.
The parka thing.
Yeah, the big furry parka.
Well, anymore it's
Sleeve
not
or
like
sleeveless?
I was gonna say now it's kind of sleeveless because he doesn't need it because he's got the powers in him.
Well, the real question is, are they going to do that? I'm thinking they will. Because
Because of the way things happen, it's
explosion.
totally going to be an innate power at this point.
Yeah.
And it's so funny that, like, even in the Flash comic, when they did that, when they gave them all, for our listeners who aren't familiar, I say recently, but in the last 3 years, they've given the Flash Rogues Galleries typically all used weapons of some sort that gave them their powers.
Or
And
weird artifact-y things.
Yeah.
different
item,
thing, and some item that gave them their power, and they changed that. And it's so funny because Captain Cold said what fans have been saying for years is like, he's like, we're kind of worthless villains because he shows up and he just takes our weapons away and then we can't do anything.
Yeah.
And so he uses this kind of crazy process to give them all their powers, and they become horribly malformed and terrible things happen. But now they all have their powers built in, so maybe that's what we'll see from him anyway. But it'll be pretty cool. I can't wait to see how Flash reacts in real life to all the ice everywhere.
I gotta say, I think, and I really hope we see it this season, I think they could be some really, really amazing on-screen fights for Mirror Master and Flash.
Yeah, that'll be really cool.
Like, that could be fantastic. Because, I mean, he's got to basically race him jumping in and out of mirrors and shit. And that, I mean, it's just going to be shattered glass and explosions.
I guess it's also worth mentioning they just announced this either a week ago or a week and a day ago that I don't know, I can't think of the actress's name, but Plastique is going to be on the Flash.
I don't know who you're talking about though.
She
the villain, but not the.
Yeah, I don't think
person.
it's a big name or anybody that we know, but she has been cast, and apparently she's going to be a decent sized role on the show. And they're saying that she's going to be on the Flash's side, I believe is what they said.
Okay. Lesser known fact about Captain Cold is that he doesn't actually.
And we're talking about Plastique now.
Now we're talking about Captain Cold again. I run this bitch. Is that he doesn't actually shoot ice or anything like that. He actually slows down the molecular structure of things, makes them closer. Basically, when you slow it down, it becomes colder. Things inherently become colder and colder. That's what he does. That's why he's able to actually fight the Flash, because the Flash could work around ice, but he's actually slowing his molecular structure. Kind of a cool little tidbit of info.
Nice. And yes, Wentworth Miller did play Chris Redfield. This is in the fourth one, not the third one.
Yeah.
Forgot they made 5.
I can't remember what the
Working
last
on
one I
6.
saw was. So
I've seen all of them, and I don't remember any of them after the first one.
yeah.
I think
They're all right. They're worth a watch.
I can't remember if it was Afterlife or Extinction, which was the last one I saw.
Afterlife was the one with Chris Redfield.
Okay,
Extinction was the third one. We're like in the desert and shit.
I've seen them all then.
Nope, there was a fifth one too.
What was it called?
Retribution.
And that's the one I haven't seen.
I've seen it, but I don't remember it.
I remember when we were younger, me and my buddies watched the first Resident Evil with commentary on, which was something we did for fun all the time back then.
You guys must have been a riot.
And yeah, we were hoot at parties.
Partied so hard.
But she was actually like hearing her commentary was actually really fun. Like she, in the beginning,
Mila
Jovovich.
Jovovich.
When she shows her, when the first part when she like has, you can see her nipples or whatever, and she was like, "And there's my nipples," and the dude was like, "There's just one nipple," and she was like, "I'm saving the other one for the sequel," and like, and she's like, and I remember like we were all just kind of like, "Wow, I can't believe she said that." She's like, "And if you watch closely, you'll see my pussy coming up." I was like, "Whoa!" Like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
the
have to
very
like
end of the movie.
freeze frame it.
Yeah.
Yeah, as she falls out of the chair.
I was just like, it was just like so caught off guard, like hearing her say that. I was like, I felt awkward listening to it. But yeah, it was pretty.
I think it's even weirder that the director of that movie is like her husband.
Yeah.
Like the last like 7 movies she's been in have been like his movies. Otherwise, I don't think she'd have work.
Yeah, probably not.
I mean, she does really good for what she's typecast for. The
Oh, yeah.
strong, silent chick, basically.
Yeah, big like.
well, she comes from a modeling background, so it works.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like she would have been a better Aeon Flux than Charlize
I
Theron.
always thought that.
I can
yes.
totally
Call.
see that.
That's a good call.
and of course she was cast as Lulu Dallas or whatever, so she
Yeah.
didn't
Oh, she
talk
was
at all.
she was awesome as
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Dallas
but,
Multipass.
but she didn't actually say anything other than that for the most part.
Big bada boom. Chicken.
Oh
I
man,
I
love
love
that
that
movie.
movie.
yeah,
That
it's
movie's
an amazing
fantastic.
movie
I think
with a really
everyone loves
fucked
fucking
up
Fifth Element.
plot and a weird cast
I'm
combination.
calling it right now. Brittany hasn't seen it. In a week from now, I'm going to get a text that's like, nope, I haven't seen it. I guarantee you.
Oh man,
I mean,
Fifth Element is the movie, for the record, Brittany.
Brooke probably hasn't seen that either. I might have to make her watch. I think
see, I know
Pop Media
Trish
showed it.
has. So
Yeah, I
that's
forced
lucky.
Megan to when we first got
I
together.
didn't have.
Tell me,
see
man,
that?
are
That
you
was-
green? He's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Fucking changing gears back to we didn't talk about this yet either. That the Flash and Arrow have a 2-hour crossover event later this year too.
This
that
is
was
news to me.
Oh yeah, you didn't know that?
Yeah.
I didn't know about it either.
I didn't
I
know,
thought I
but
said
I'm
that in a
not
text
surprised.
message.
No, you didn't.
Maybe I just wrote
You
it down. I was
forgot
like,
all
yeah,
of
talk
us.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna have a big crossover event later.
So is it
this
going to
year.
be like a single, like, giant 2-hour episode, or is it going to be like this week's Flash and next week's Arrow?
I wonder if do we know?
Because that'd be shit.
I was gonna say
They're on
'cause, like,
multiple days.
Oh, okay, that's what I was gonna say. Is like if Flash is on like right after Arrow, it might just be one big episode.
My guess
but-
it would be just like on the Monday and the Thursday or whatever the fuck.
It could,
Tuesday,
yeah.
Wednesday, I
Tuesday,
think.
Wednesday, whatever.
It just said like a 2-hour crossover event, so that'll be
Like,
pretty
Tuesday's Arrow, Wednesday's Flash. if
Yeah,
I'm right.
I guess that's kind of a good segue in the fact that Jeff Johns has gone on the record as saying that the DC TV and movie universes will not cross over. So we will very more than likely see a different Flash, different Green Arrow, if he's going to make it to any of the films.
Yeah.
I can almost guarantee the Flash will. with the
He
Justice
fucking
League.
better.
Well, yeah. Well, I guess we have the Flash and Green Lantern movie.
Yeah.
Coming
Good call.
out, so.
We don't have that confirmed yet, though, do we? That was.
As much as we
pretty much
can, I
confirmed.
guess, right?
I thought that was still a.
My
rumor
guess
for the
is they're
most
going
part.
to announce it at Comic-Con to make it official.
Well, like we were talking about, Kevin Smith said he saw the list of whatever coming up, and then he couldn't talk about it. And then once that got leaked, he was like, "Yep, that is correct." So
Oh.
I guess as confirmed as we can without somebody from DC saying yes, this
Yeah.
is legit.
Which I'm guessing they'll do, well, this week,
Yeah,
but last week. I'm guessing they did.
I don't like this time traveling. Well, I guess
It's
speaking
considered
of
a
which, then,
paradox and speaking present for us.
we got that interview where The Rock pretty much said he's going to be Shazam or Black Adam.
Yeah, he did not.
It
It's going to be one
Better
of those two.
fucking
Yeah.
be Black Adam.
Yeah, if it's Black Adam, then that just
He
made
is
my year.
like my brain cannot process him as Shazam. Like sure muscles and all,
Here's
but
the only thing I'll say, and this is something I did some thinking about it too. And actually, I read a comment, and it started me spiraling on a different thought. I would much rather see him as Black Adam more than anything. But if he is Shazam, he'll be able to do a really good job of playing a man-child, basically.
Yeah. Well,
I think that'll be
absolutely.
a
I
good
mean,
thing.
There's
for him.
that, and also I want to go on the record as saying he said several times that he has talked to them about playing a good guy.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think he would be a
And
good
even if-
Shazam, but I think he would be the perfect Black Adam.
and in
so
that,
that's the only thing. for
that
me.
same interview, he talks about how he's got his baggage, like this is what he's bringing into it. It's always a good guy. So I mean, when he's talking about that, he's talking about his
Except
morals
for
and stuff. Like,
Doom.
Well, he was a good guy for the
Scorpion
majority of the movie.
Right.
And he was a good guy in the Scorpion King movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't find out the whole.
But to our
Four
fans
around.
anyway, yeah, he just said the thing about what did he said?
He kept talking about, because the guy asked, like, well, between this role and Black Adam, which one are you more excited about? And he was like, ooh, smart question. And he goes, I've been talking to DC for years about finding something that's going to fit me. And like I was saying, said I have certain baggage, good baggage, but when I bring to a role that I need to play this character this way, and we've been working on that. And there's something that we're going to announce really soon. But I will say, as strong as Superman, then he sits for a second and he goes, just say the word.
Yeah.
And then he moves on.
He said that, and I immediately was like, oh, that's going to be good. I can't wait to see anybody. And that's why I text you guys. I was like, no matter who he plays, I want to hear him shout Shazam now.
Especially
I need to hear
how
that.
they announced that 2016 is going to be a Shazam movie. So,
Yeah.
I mean, they have to announce it and start on it soon.
Very soon, yeah.
So that's why he said it's something we're going to announce really soon. That also...
It'll probably be like they start filming in January or something like that.
Yeah.
But if he ends up being Shazam, the only person in my brain I can even remotely picture as Black Adam is the guy that played Emo Hotep or whatever. I was trying to think, is that
All
did I
right.
get the guy's name right? What's his name?
Emotep was the character.
Yeah, obviously. No, the guy's real name.
Yeah, the guy's real name is Emotep.
That'd be
It was
fucking
a weird
awesome.
fucking
I can't remember it.
coincidence.
The guys in Psych talk about it in a joking way all the time, so I feel like I should remember
In
it.
Psych,
Like,
the TV show?
yeah, they constantly make references to him. The guy that plays Emotep, who also played Phantom in Phantom.
No, Billy Zane didn't play Emotep.
Yeah, that's totally different.
Is that who they always talk about?
Yeah. Billy
That guy
Zane is who
would
they're
be
always making jokes
pretty
about.
awesome. I mean, not Billy Zane, but the guy
He also
Billy's talking
played
about as well.
Zoltan and G.I. Joe.
Zoltan. That's all I can think of from
You
fucking.
said that, and I was picturing
Arnold
Big.
Vosloo.
Is that his name?
Yes.
All right.
I don't know
Fucking
that
dude,
name.
where's my car? Zoltan! Billy, for the love of God, man.
Every cast.
He
Fucking,
might be too old to play Black Adam now. He's like 52.
tried to edit your farts out of the last one, but it didn't work out well.
We keep
at
them
all.
organic, just like me.
Fucking,
Ooh, that one
what
smells
other
like
movie
dead
news
cat.
you guys got to talk about? I don't know why I said movie, but
I've got all kinds of stuff. Hold on.
I want to talk about dead cats.
I will say Marvel today released the dates for Spider-Man and the Sinister
Sinister
Six. I almost said the Amazing Six.
Sinister 6 is first.
Yeah, and
2016, and Spider-Man 3 is
2018.
it's interesting to see.
It's a long jump, though.
All we've ever seen from any company that's not Marvel, and I might be wrong, but I don't think so, is, with a Marvel property, is them just taking the main one and progressing with Spider-Man, Fantastic Four. We haven't really seen much branching yet, so this will be interesting to see what happens.
Correct. Speaking of Marvel, I guess I'll jump to that one. Marvel made a cool announcement about their movie progression over the next several years.
We talked about this.
No, I think this is something different. They talked about how every year now there's going to be a sequel and then a new IP.
Yep.
Okay.
So, and even if you think about it, even over the past, that's been the case. Like this year, we had Winter Soldier, and then we have Guardians of the Galaxy, and then next year we have Avengers, and then Ant-Man. So
I'm excited about Ant-Man.
they've already started that. That's kind of exciting.
Yeah.
Marvel, Daredevil, something that we've been following. for a
Yeah,
while now.
I'm really excited about that too.
Made me even more excited. The showrunner has said that it's going to be really gritty and like 70s noir style. So
That's interesting. I like
that's
that.
Daredevil.
That fits
That's Daredevil
pretty
to
well.
a T.
Yeah.
So that's I know everybody gets tired of hearing the buzzword gritty nowadays, but with Daredevil, you need that.
Yeah.
There's certain characters that's just a stigma.
That's like going, Batman's going to wear black. That's like awesome. We needed that.
Yeah.
Daredevil has to be gritty.
That's actually a decent segue into that Batman news I told you about too. The Ben Affleck has told, I don't know who he told, or I can't remember the sources exactly, but it was him actually telling someone directly that the suit is extremely uncomfortable and it's really painful to wear, and that it is really hard to breathe in after a while. So it was like, God damn, it's like a really bad. And I guess in that same article they said that Andrew Garfield, I guess, in Spider-Man had it worked into his contract for the second one that the suit would have a zipper, so that he didn't have to have people help him piss like with the other suit, because that was a big deal. He was so embarrassed because people had to help him pee and shit all the time in the suit. But I guess in Ben Affleck's thing is whenever he has to go to the bathroom at all, the entire suit has to come off,
Oh, that
like
sucks.
completely.
They would
which is,
hate me.
yeah, I mean, it's like I guess I don't think I would really be that much of a problem in that regard because I don't have to piss or poop very often, but
I have to pee
it's just
every
long periods of
hour.
time.
Yeah, me
Give me
too.
some blocks, but
Yeah, exactly.
For me to stay hydrated and not like get migraines and stuff, I have to drink a lot, which means that I pee constantly, like clockwork, every hour and a half.
Yeah.
So that
interesting.
would
Same
suck
exact
for
boat.
me. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, so I mean, his discomfort might mean that the suit looks especially awesome. I mean, we know it does. We've seen it, so maybe it'll. But he also said he lost a lot of mobility in it. That was a thing.
Yeah.
So that
Oh,
makes
that
me
sucks.
nervous.
That's
That was a
he said
big
it was
part.
constricting or something, so
Yeah.
that's kind of worrisome.
I mean, just from looking at the fabric, that makes me wonder why it's so uncomfortable. Like, it looks like it's almost a softer fabric that would be more pliable.
Yeah, but the undersuit.
I
is
think it's probably
what's-
like wrapped over like armor plates and stuff.
Okay.
Quote unquote armor plates. But
so maybe like a fiberglass mold or body or something.
something
under it.
like that.
Yeah.
That's probably really painful or restricted. I can just imagine something like that pushing into the side of your shoulder and shit like that. How much that would hurt
Leaving
after.
those like permanent creases in your skin or something like
And
Lifting
that.
for
your
it,
arms
and for
up
it
and
to
down.
actually look like solid flesh, it's probably like a hard foam too, which is
Yeah.
ugh.
And even more hot because of that and shit. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, kind of what Billy's talking about with Marvel. The other release date news they had. We already knew that Avengers 3 is coming out, then Ant-Man, then in 2016 there's a movie coming out on July 8th. And
You
then
said Avengers 3.
Sorry, 2.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's like, shit, are we getting two of them back to back?
That would be awesome. Go full
We've
on
got-
Matrix. So,
We've got third Captain America on May 6th, 2016. Then they have another film on July 8th, 2016. Then they have another on May 5th of 2017. None of these have actually been announced. But then they gave us 5 more dates.
yeah.
They have July 28th of 17, November 3rd of 17, July 6th of 18, November 2nd of 18, and then May 3rd of 19.
Damn.
Now, I would not be surprised if during Comic-Con they're talking like they're going to say what all those films are. So we're going to potentially get 7 announced movies.
I bet they don't give all of them to us just because it's such a long time frame for things to change, but I bet we get at least a couple of the ones we don't know.
I was going to say, like, related to that is I wonder, can you imagine, like, I think about when I write little things like a treatment for a character that I like or like a little short story for somebody and like how much thought I put into the timeline of it. Can you imagine what fucking kind of processing it would take to build a timeline that's fucking 10 years out and shit like they're doing?
Yeah.
That's insane.
They've got one for, 14 years from now up until 2028.
That's crazy.
So they've got them all planned out.
We got
That's
top men on it.
Our
exactly.
top men.
top men.
What was the release date? They just announced today the release date of Rebels. It was October 20-something-ish.
I didn't hear an actual number. I just know it's October is what I
Yeah,
heard
October is
last.
what I keep hearing.
Brooke told me a date today. I think she did anyway. I thought she said it was like October 27, maybe.
I'll be a little sad if it's that late because man, this fall's TV lineup is taking
Solid.
Well, I mean, it's all kicking in late though. There's only a handful of shows that start before October this year.
Was Flash September? I think it
Flash
is.
is one of them.
Yeah.
And then Sleepy Hollow is I think the first week of October.
I was gonna say,
Shield
that's
comes
early.
out September 23rd,
Okay.
and Lucy Lawless has joined the cast,
Yeah.
Yeah, worth mentioning.
which is exciting.
Who looks amazing still.
Word.
Yeah, she's
What
looking
is
better.
happening? I agree. Actually, I do think
I
she
agree.
does look better.
Yep.
You guys need to go watch Spartacus.
Yep.
All kinds of naked in that.
All right. Well, I've seen those pictures. I don't miss
We don't need to
naked
watch some silly
celebrities.
show.
Well, kind of segueing into Star Wars. This is just an interesting bit of news. Something actually I got really excited about, and Rob will be, and Logan, you will be now.
Okay. Now I'm interested.
Well, no,
in
you'll get Gwendolyn Christie, who was recently cast, Brienne of Tarth.
Oh yeah, yeah.
There's word that she's going to be a Sith.
Oh.
Yeah,
I didn't
alright.
know her name, but I think I read the same. Like
She's a
news
weird
clip.
looking bitch.
Yeah.
She's
So.
actually not bad in real life.
Yeah, she still looks weird.
Well, it doesn't matter if they keep with what we know of the Sith; they're gonna look deformed anyway. So.
Yeah, she'll be crazy looking.
Yeah.
They really ugly her up for Game of Thrones.
She looks so masculine. And another thing is like her eyelashes being blonde is such a weird look when they're that blonde,
yeah,
you know?
and she's like 6'4".
Yeah. She's huge compared to all the dudes. It's so funny to see her next to those guys.
She could also, if they actually are doing the other thing they talked about, she could easily play a Dathomiri witch who all look fucked up.
Yeah.
You know?
But they said that she's been practicing lightsaber battles.
That's
so
what's up.
It's not a crazy transition for them to say that Dathomiri witches are related to Sith too, so that could be the whole plot right fucking there.
Nailed it. We figured it out.
Yeah, I haven't been caught up, but that's the whole storyline for Darth Maul's book right now is the whole son of Dathomir stuff. So.
I really hope it's not the actual plot lines that we've heard leaked. Have you guys heard this?
No, tell me.
Where it's about the people on Tatooine that find the hand with a lightsaber that fell from space.
Oh,
and then they're trying to return the lightsaber to its owner. So then they meet up with Han and Chewie to try to find Luke to return his lightsaber from 20 years ago.
This sounds like a goddamn terrible parody.
That can't be right. That's
rumored that's the plot. And if that's the case, goodbye, Star Wars.
No joke.
But
there's so many things scientifically
Star
wrong with
Wars
that.
over.
I know.
That's why over Tatooine. When
that's what I'm saying. It was nowhere near Tatooine.
Bespin,
it would have had to have gone really fucking far if you look at the star charts, and then the hand would have burned up in the atmosphere.
Do we know Luke's hand is actually a monkey's paw?
It would have only burned up if it was moving fast enough to burn up.
Well, it had to be moving fast if it was going to get all the way from fucking Bespin to fucking Tatooine.
Frozen solid and hit a meteorite and shattered.
Hopefully that's people trolling.
It's gotta be.
I refuse to acknowledge that.
Yeah.
I absolutely refuse. And then we also saw the X-Wing.
Which I'm starting to come around to a little bit. My first thought was a really strong knee-jerk reaction that I fucking hate everything about it. But the longer I look at it, the more it just kind of looks like Ralph McQuarrie's concept for what the X-Wing was going to look like. So I'm like starting to come around to it, but it still just feels wrong.
My problem
somehow.
is it just looks like a shitty vintage version of the X-Wing. Like it looks like an older one, and if this is
and that's what Ralph McQuarrie's concept was. That was supposed to be like the like shitty, like this is what our prototype is, but it looks exactly like that. So it looks like a shitty prototype.
Art, so I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it looks like a concept art for the X-Wing, not a future version of the X-Wing.
But it could be a prototype for the next one.
But it doesn't change the fact that it's aged. That is seen wear in combat.
Yeah, that's one of the text messages I said is that it could very well be just like a prop on the set where they're walking around. There's like, this is our X-Wing prototype. It could just be just something that simple where it doesn't even.
And that's why,
you never
like
even
I said,
see it in flight.
I'm
it's
coming around. I'm not like super angry like
that's
I was.
That's a big set piece to build for display purposes.
They've done crazier.
But you could just CGI a thing that's not going to move and like. That's a lot of money.
They did that with every single clone. There's never a single piece of true movie-worn clone armor because there was never a single movie, like, actual physical representation. Yeah. So that's actually a thing on eBay is that a lot of people are like, oh, a screen-worn clone helmet. Those don't exist. Every single clone was computer-generated.
That makes sense.
So, I mean, if they're going to do that with, like, moving people that are going to fight, like Billy said, they could probably do that with something like that. But again, it's just all, like, hearsay
like we've had a hard time getting this point across, or at least I have. It's been 20 years. It's gonna be worn. It's been 20 years and it's in the desert.
Yes, but
it's gonna be really worn.
Piece of equipment.
Yeah, but the original Star Wars compared to the original trilogy looked like shit.
If it's 20 years from now, why would the X-Wing look like something that's 40 years old? Because this is 20 years previous to the original X-Wing.
I think it looks beat up, but I don't think the technology looks old.
Oh, it totally
does.
Compared to all Star Wars ships nowadays, it looks fucking ancient.
Yeah, it looks really ancient.
The ships in...
I'm saying it looks identical to Ralph McQuarrie's concept for the prototypes of what the Z95s look like.
The ships in Episode 1 look way more futuristic than the ones in Episode 4.
Not really, because the
arc...
They just look newer.
Yeah, they look newer and shinier, but the arc is not as advanced as the X-Wing Z95.
They're
sleeker and they're cleaner.
Like newer and
but that's because they're new. They're just off the assembly line and being used in the war. The Rebels used old ships that weren't in good repair.
I would say that, most of the ships we saw, like on Naboo and shit, look like they're newer, better. I'm not saying they are technologically.
Well, that's also because they were using Nubian ships, and Nubians use a completely separate, like, form of machinations. They don't build ships like normal people. And that's actually talked about in the expanded universe quite a lot because their ships always look so much better than everybody's else. But by the time that the rebellion happens, they've all disappeared. There's no more Nubian ships. They've stopped making ships. Otherwise, the rebels would probably use Nubian ships.
They just stopped making them?
Yeah. Well, because they were kind of elusive. They had all, like, the Nubian people that were making, I can't remember what their company is called, but they, like, kind of went off-world to their own, like hideaway kind of a thing, and nobody really knows anything about them. They just know that they make amazing ships, and then they come in and they have the greatest ships ever. And then they just completely fell off the map and stopped making ships.
So
around that
technologically,
time.
they were better.
Yeah, they were
as well?
slightly better, yeah. But they were only slightly better than what was happening then. So, and a lot of that, it comes from, it's almost like the Rolls-Royce. They're like the Rolls-Royce of those kind of ships. They cost a whole lot, and that's the reason why Naboo, all of their ships look like that. It's because the Royal Navy of Naboo could spend however much fucking money they want on the Nubian ships.
That makes sense. I'll still, like I said, I'll still say before anybody gets upset about it, I wouldn't worry too much about it. As of yet, like I said, it could very well even be just something that's never used in the movie. It could, like I said, or it could just be something that's as simple as
could be
that's
a
our
fucking
thing.
flashback too. I mean, that's
Also true.
Yep.
Yeah, it could be.
I'm not saying
this is what we
that
used to. You know.
I hate it because I hate it. I hate it if that's what it's supposed to be. Is more what I'm trying to.
And again, beyond that, even we could see that once we see it in flight, in action, whatever, that it does something crazy, or when the wings come apart, some other crazy
Turns into a Decepticon.
Exactly.
Yes.
We could just see crazy
If
shit
it
that we
fucking does
can't.
anything other than become a giant X-wing, then I have a problem.
Well, I mean, that's again, that's to say that if it becomes a better ship in some capacity where they explain it off, if they give us some sciencey reason that it's now better than the previous generation of X-Wing, having a problem with that seems childish and silly. I mean, just because you want it to be like the old ones, if they give us a reason why it's better, to inherently be angry just because it's not the old one, go watch the old movies at that point. That's my argument anyway.
It's like getting mad that Iron Man's Mark 42 armor isn't scrapped together pieces of metal. He got better technology, so he made better ones.
Yeah.
If it's a better ship, then of course they're going to make it.
Now, if they just say this is the new X-Wing and they give no reasons why, and they just say it's better,
But it's more like if Iron Man in the new movie is going to go back to having like the clunky armor, and they're like, well, it's technologically better. Well, it doesn't look technologically better. It looks like your prototype armor. That's more like what this is.
I should say officially, though, we don't know that this is a prototype. I'm just saying. I said
from an outsider perspective, it looks like the prototype.
I said that.
So that's the only reason why me and Billy have a problem is because we have the expanded legacy ideas and concepts behind it.
I think with the smaller engines and the longer, it looks sleeker. I think.
Other than
Technically, they're not
but
smaller engines. It's one big one that's probably 3 times the size of one of the smaller ones on the original X-Wings.
Well, there's 2 small ones, and then there's just kind of one big one now.
It'll be 2 half moons, but there's still that one engine is easily the size of probably 3 of the original.
Yeah,
hold on a minute. For our audience, the X-Wing, we got to see a picture of it, or I guess J.J. Abrams was standing in front of it in a video that he did for a charity thing that he's running. It just showed kind of a Force for Change, right?
Hashtag.
Look on our Facebook page; we'll have it up.
Okay. It showed just kind of him standing in front of it and like a rebel pilot getting into it. They kind of had a funny little exchange, whatever. But since then, people have taken it and kind of extracted the image and put it in space and like shown all these crazy stuff to do with it. So that's what we're talking about because we never elaborated other than X-Wing explosions,
loud noises.
That's how we work.
Yep.
But yeah, so I guess my thing is that. Until I get more information about it, I'm not going to make any judgment calls because I don't know anything about it. All I know is what it looks like.
I'm saying that the 2 engines from the original X-Wing combined are larger than the 1 engine.
The 2 engines on the You mean 4?
Well, 2
I'm talking
on each side.
on one side.
Those 2 combined are larger than the single one on this one?
Yes.
I disagree.
Yeah, I disagree.
I'm looking at photos.
I've seen lots of pictures of the original one.
I have lots of action figures too of the original X-Wing. That's actually
well, I'm looking
scale.
at them like side by side.
Can I see?
This is the original.
Yeah.
Look at the engines.
Yep. Comparing them to like cockpit size, for example.
Correct. And then this is
very interesting for our audience.
and then this will be on the new one.
As big as the entire fuselage?
So you're just to be clear, you're saying that the old engines were the 2 of them together are bigger than that one?
If not the same size.
I'd say that's because they're separated and they're kind of on top of each other. It's a harder thing to gauge, but you could be right. I can't honestly. I can't
adding
make a good
together the
judgment.
circumferences the hardest way possible.
If you give me a little bit of time in Photoshop after this, I'll give you a definitive answer.
Yeah, I'm just saying that I don't think it's taking up more room. Like it's,
it could very well be either the same or a little smaller.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't say it's bigger than the other. I mean, one is bigger than one of the other ones, sure, but 1 against 2 is probably If I had to just gun to my head, rough guesstimate, it'd probably say it's
exactly,
about the same
and
time.
obviously because that whole circle is not going to be on one of the wings when they separate.
Isn't there also something on the back of it that looks kind of like
look,
engines as
it's
well?
got a little smaller exhaust port.
I was saying it kind of looks like there's a.
So it's clearly that they're going to split.
Yeah, could very well be. And
that's how Ralph McQuarrie's concept is. That's exactly how the concept.
It's got a
looks.
weird split on the end of the wing too. If you actually look at it, that I don't know how. It looks like it could almost curve instead of Xing.
How do you mean?
If I at least kind of interpreted it right, like if you look on the end, look at how the fucking what are the ion cannons?
Sure, whatever things.
The gun.
Those are the ion cannons. And then on the front are proton torpedoes.
Yeah, if you look on the ion cannons, if you look at the wing,
kind of arcs up a little bit.
it looks like it could almost like wrap like a goddamn slat band.
I don't think it's going to do.
No, I think they just
I don't
look like
either,
they're
but I mean it.
Yeah, it is
think
kind
it's
of an
kind of
interesting
so that it'll.
Design.
Yeah.
Plus, I do not see a fucking spot for an astromech droid.
I didn't even think about that.
So
that was like
that's
one
a
of the-
problem.
Well, unless it is a future one, because that would mean that they have hyperdrive computers built in. That means that they don't need astromech droids. Because that's the
Bingo.
reason that the X-wings have those, because they don't
That's
have
such a cool
onboard
feature,
computers.
because it adds such a weird dynamic. Like
Yeah,
even in
and
the
that's
books,
one of
it
my
made it
favorite
fun.
things about the Rebel ships is that they've got their little buddies that are like their
Like
wingmen.
to go into details in the future of EU, they become what are called stealth X-wings, which can only be piloted.
That was an interesting word you did there.
I caught myself piloted by a Jedi because of certain reasons like that, and I can't remember the exact.
Like a pod racer.
Sort of, yeah, but I mean, what was it? They have to use the Force to navigate, and something else. Trish is gonna be pissed off. I can't remember this word for word because we talked about this at great length. But they kept the astromech even in the stealth unit, so.
That's one of the things we've talked about on the pod, and I know you two will know about it, and you probably remember me talking about it, was one of my favorite things from whichever one of the books it was that they discuss it, is that when Luke lands his X-Wing somewhere, and they're going to repair it, and they basically tell him, we can't do anything with this because it's so custom
Integrated
configured to
with-
R2 that they're like, we don't know how to work on this anymore. He's
Same
built
thing.
it all around his personality that the
Same
computer's
thing
so
happened with
reworked.
Jaina's ship, I'm pretty sure, and her X-Wing.
I really like that kind of
I like
concept
that
anyway.
idea. Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Well, when you do all your own repairs and jury rigging, and you base everything off of that single astromech.
Who's never had a memory wipe. That's a really cool
I've
concept.
seen some shit.
Exactly.
Yeah, I feel like he should walk around like with grizzled, smoking a cigar at that point. Fucking pipe and shit.
Look like the beat up Short Circuit, fucking after he got his ass kicked.
I want his beeps and boops to be much deeper now, where he's like, boop. Just really angry.
Bender is R2-D2.
Beep, boop. Boo.
Instead of, it's like,
It's just like an old whirring fan. And then it goes off.
Sounds like a shitty fan belt.
What else you got to talk about?
It was Dan Aykroyd said today that pre-production on Ghostbusters 3 is going to start in the spring.
Yeah.
So they're moving forward with it.
Yeah.
Even though they've lost Harold Ramis and
No,
Ivan
no.
Reitman as the director.
Yeah.
So,
I'll still see it.
oh, absolutely. And I'll still
But
be
it's-
excited about
It's
it.
just going to be Aykroyd and maybe Hudson, right?
Yeah, and then whoever the new cast
What else
is.
has he got to do?
Look, you make fun of that guy, but that guy's really underappreciated.
Yeah,
Like,
sure.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was joking, because like he wasn't
And I thought
included
he
in the video games and shit. They just put in generic white guy instead of him. Like it's
And I'm not
completely
even
replaced
just
his
talking
character.
Ghostbusters. Like he did a lot of like awesome 80s and early 90s.
He was
stuff.
awesome in The Crow.
Yeah, that's always what I go to first as well.
But, I mean,
Fighting ghosts there too.
the consensus is that it's going to be like the new generation. So I think,
Passing the torch. And all
yeah,
that.
you only really need one
One.
Ghostbuster to do
Yeah.
that.
Which is true. And it would be really cool if they acknowledged like one of the two non-Ghostbusters not there as a ghost or something like
And
that.
it would make sense if it was Ray and Winston, because Ray is like he's not Egon, but he's kind of like the sciencey kind of guy, and then Winston was like the former like war hero and stuff like that. So
Pretty much had like nothing else going on. Like he is at the end of his everything career when he joined.
yeah, exactly. So it makes me bummed that they never brought that up in the movies, but that was his history. Like he was a badass.
I was gonna say, 'cause I don't think I ever knew that. I've never really seen or done anything but see the movie, so no comics or any of that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I mean, it would be like there's the sciencey guy, and then here's the guy that's going to teach you how to actually do that stuff effectively.
You get the brains and the brawn, essentially.
Yeah, so you can. I mean, it makes sense.
Cool.
So now we just got to figure out who our younger generation of Ghostbusters are going to be.
Shia LaBeouf.
They could
It's
totally.
going to be the cast of The Hangover.
They could totally cast Ryan Reynolds as Bill Murray Generation 2.
Yeah.
I'd actually be okay with that.
I've been saying that for years. Was it
Like, see,
Van
like him,
Wilder
like-
that he
like-
makes the quote that's almost identical to Bill Murray? I'm gonna miss him.
Yeah. No, it was Blade 3.
That's it.
Blade
yeah,
Trinity.
thank you.
Yeah,
He's
and
a
I'd like to
badass
see him
in
and
that.
like Paul Rudd maybe, even though he's like 50.
I think
He'd
Paul
be a
Rudd
good
might be a little
Ghostbuster.
too old though. Like
Yeah.
we want to
Too old.
Too
I'm
old.
having
Or
trouble.
like Seth Rogen or something,
I could see Seth Rogen being like
or Jay Baruchel.
I hate him.
I like him. I think he would work as
He
I
could
hate his
only
voice
do
so
Egon.
much.
Egon. Yeah, he would be perfect
But
for
I
the next
think for
Egon.
Egon, that would be the one I'd want to be an unknown for certain. For some reason in my brain, I want the nerdy one to be a completely unknown.
James Franco could be a Ghostbuster.
We're passing
I'm on
this
board
off to
with it.
Seth Rogen and his friends.
I don't know if
I mean,
want
that's kind of the equivalent.
Yeah,
I don't want the
yeah.
Avatar Busters. No, thank you.
I'd be all right. This Ghostbusters keep going. You know I know you're gay. The way you hold that proton pack. Yeah. Or shit, it's gone. Never mind.
All right.
Lost it forever. What else we got to talk about? I have some other things to talk about.
There was Shell Shocked, the music video, and then it got turned into a 1-minute trailer.
That was
Like,
really
I,
cool.
like the music video itself, I obviously hate everything involved with it.
Me too, for the
The
most
song
part.
sucks so bad. I don't even like
terrible.
the chorus.
The chorus is somewhat catchy, but that beat is awesome. If you take all the lyrics away,
I don't even like that.
I like the beat.
I don't like
Like
anything
it felt,
about the song.
it felt. I will say that it pales in comparison to the fucking 2007 soundtrack. That was a fucking awesome
I thought we were
soundtrack.
going to say Go Ninja. Go
Well, I
Ninja.
mean,
Go Ninja, go Ninja, go!
The soundtrack from the original movie was awesome with Technotronic and MC Hammer and
Well, all of them up to
Partners
this
in
point
Crime.
have been really, really like staple, pinnacle like sounds of that generation. Like the
Yeah.
07 one was all like pop punk and like the cute is what we aim for. All that shit at the time was huge.
Spider-Bait.
Yeah, they did the cover of Black Betty or whatever on it.
No, they were in it, but Detroit Rock, or not Detroit Rock City, Big City Rock did the cover of Black Betty.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll be.
The fucking trailer was hilarious, though.
Oh my god!
We've
Yes.
all talked
I
about
watched
it.
it like 6 times. I'm not
Yeah.
even lying.
I watched it four separate times.
yeah,
I
Yeah,
was,
I
I
watched
was
it
in
four
the
times.
middle of shitting, and I did watch it four times at first just to watch each of the
Yeah, each
reactions.
one's
at their
reacting,
end.
yeah.
But I'm in the
Yes.
middle of shitting, and Trish just keeps hearing me busting up laughing every like 66 seconds, almost on the nose. And I'm like, I'm gonna send it to you. Just watch it. And she
It's
did not
worth
laugh.
it to say it's them in an elevator, like killing time in the elevator by dancing like idiots.
Just kind of waiting for
Leo
the
is
elevator
like
to go.
doing a
They do,
hard
like-
grind. And,
Yeah, that was
well,
my
he's like
favorite.
headbanging. He's like,
Well, yeah, but he's got like his ass.
yeah,
pumping
he
his
starts
ass
pumping
off.
the
yeah.
ass at the
he's
end
like
of
whipping
it.
his
I don't
hair
know why,
back.
but Raph doing like the rapper handshake, bro, and fucking Donna. I swear to God, Donatello's just doing the butter turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just going like this.
He's kind of like at one point holding it like a guitar a little bit, but for
Yeah,
the most part,
at
he's still
first,
just-
at first I thought he was playing the guitar, and then I was like, is he jerking it?
Looked
I
like
don't
he
know
was
what he's
jerking
doing.
it.
And
It
then, of
looks like
course,
he's
Mikey's
jerking it.
using his nunchucks as drumsticks.
But I gotta say the part where like you actually hear Donatello laugh was extremely satisfying.
Or the part where he's like, they have guns! Or whatever.
Yeah,
Real
just
squeaky
bring it up.
voice.
Like to hear him do like the
Yeah, that little
it's like
snort.
oh,
I didn't hear the snort when I
it's
watched
when he's
it.
sliding in the snow. He's just got this shit-eating grin, and he
Oh.
just snorts with laughter.
I'll
Like
have to rewatch it. I
this is
missed
the
that part.
perfect nerd. It makes me so happy.
Yep.
Yeah, the part where, well, that might not even be in that trailer. Have you guys seen that one where Donatello's putting on the, like the special glasses and see the guys with the guns? And he like freaks out because of the guns they have. He's like, no one said they have those guns! And he's like really like,
Freaking out.
yeah, it gets like super high pitched and it's like pure panic and it's hilarious, Donatello. I don't think it's in that trailer, but
I don't remember
I saw
that
it on a TV spot.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's
I
probably
rewound
the
it like
TV
3 or
spot
4
part
times. I was
5
like,
because I haven't seen that one. I keep forgetting that I need to
we'll
look
pull
for
it up
it.
then.
Then there's the other bit where they turn around and goes, "So our shells are bulletproof."
Yeah, no, he doesn't even say it like that. Like Raph goes, "We're bulletproof."
That was Jack. Yeah. I think Billy said it, but it perfectly describes. They've done a great job of making them teenagers. In
No,
this.
That's
that
what
was
I said.
Steve.
Yeah, I was just watching that trailer and then like kind of what we've seen from all of them. They genuinely feel like teenagers and just not just like dumb, goofy teenagers, but like the reactions are spot on.
They're
It's
still
just-
learning
They're
things
super
about
immature,
them and
like they
themselves
should
and their
be,
lives.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It looks really good. I'm so excited for it. I cannot wait to
And
see
did you
this
guys,
movie.
when I said the homage to the
I
original,
saw that immediately.
like when they were falling in the moonlight and he's spinning his staff.
Well, that's not just the video game.
No,
That's
it's
the original
yeah.
theme
well,
from the
yeah.
cartoon.
When you watch the original, it starts off with the sewer. Like, I even went and compared them side by side because I was like, this is happening. Like, I got stupidly excited, and then I went on a full-on circle jerk of nostalgia.
So finish your statement for our listeners anyway.
It's gone.
It shows them
No.
jumping down from a building silhouetted by the moon behind them,
Yeah.
which is exactly like
Just
Like, the original opening, essentially.
yeah.
So
And
really
Donnie
cool
does the
little
helicopter
homage anyway.
spin.
Yes. It was
He
just,
takes his staff and swings it around his head like a helicopter.
like, it was extremely gratifying as a giant fan service, essentially.
Yeah, very cool.
Like, my favorite of the trailers by far, just because of that.
Has anybody else watched that behind the scenes documentary thing that Nickelodeon
No, I still
had?
haven't yet.
We're gonna have to watch that after this. It's only like 18 minutes.
That's
Okay with that.
arbitrary number.
Well, it's a half-an-hour show with commercial breaks taken out.
It should be 22 minutes.
Yeah, it's Nickelodeon. A lot of commercials.
17 minutes is the
But
same
you
as
actually
cat
get to
commercials.
see like a large chunk of like the snow chase scene, and it's just really good. So
And that is the second week of August?
August
yes,
8th.
Yeah.
August 8th.
Very good.
Guardians is the first,
Yep.
and that's the 8th.
Dragon Ball Z is the 5th.
Yeah.
And Let's Be Cops is the 5th.
For us.
I'm so excited about Dragon Ball Z.
I'm excited for you.
I saw Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to ask
still
you, how
really
was
want
it?
to see that.
It was awesome.
Yeah?
I really, really enjoyed it.
Good. That makes me happy.
They did the highlight of the film to me was Koba.
Yeah?
If you remember him from the first one,
Yeah.
he was the one that was all scarred up.
The angry, beat-up one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do such a good job with him. They did a really good job with everybody, but with him, God, it's hard to put into words if you haven't seen it yet. They do a really good job with his mouth. I know that sounds really silly, but he's always got kind of like that open.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't really have it in the first film, but this one it's always kind of like that open, wide, like kind of monkey.
How they almost look like they're smiling, but it's really scary.
Yeah, like he's got like that like all the time, but like he's like when he talks, like the guy that moved his mouth appropriately, and it kind of helped me with the Fantastic Four film and follow me on this because the guy that played Koba, did the motion capture for him, is playing Doctor Doom.
Okay.
So that kind of helped. Toby Kebbell, I believe.
So when he does Dr. Doom's monkey lip
Yeah.
movements, when he sticks them through the little hole and starts talking.
There's little things about the film that I liked. Not all the monkeys talk yet. They pretty much
I
all
was gonna ask you
communicate
about that.
with sign
Sign
language.
language and stuff.
But actually, physically talking is almost like a status.
Okay. So
Like
like
when-
Caesar probably. And
Yeah,
Koba
Caesar.
maybe.
Well, it's interesting. He does it in the beginning, but spoilers. He becomes like the bad guy of the film. But as he establishes more dominance and pulls more of the weight, he starts talking more and more. And they still don't. I don't want to say talk intelligently because what they say makes perfect sense.
Just like short.
but it's
sentences,
kind of
that.
like the yeah.
Caesar
it's-
is home. That thing.
Yeah.
Just broken grammar, essentially.
It's proper grammar, but it's just kind of short staccato sentences. Like you could tell they're still kind of straining for it. They definitely still, I guess, would sound like monkeys would. They're not like, oh, tell me, old chum. And like,
I fucking wish.
like the old Planet of the Apes films. Oh, Dr. Zayas, what do you think?
That pulled me right out of the disc out of the illusion for just a minute, and then right back into it with how excited I was to hear them keep talking.
But it's all kind of like
life.
they're all like, oh, I'm going over here.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of But the night before I rewatched Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and so Brittany could see it for the first time, and I still, oh man, it's just goosebumps when he's like,
Yeah.
and the first time you hear them talk with this one, it's kind of similar, but a lot scarier.
Yeah.
It's the same. He says "go" instead of "no."
No, so close.
But it's like the group of humans, like the monkeys are all doing their own little thing.
Oh,
like,
from the preview you're talking about? Is that like where the people are with the guns in the woods?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like they're at this point, the monkeys think like the humans are gone. Like they're gonna because it's been 10 years after the virus
and all that shit.
yeah. They-
So clever, by the way. That was such
yeah.
a clever way
Yeah.
of doing that.
But the humans that survive have like an immunity to it, so obviously, and they've all gathered kind of in San Francisco. But like the monkeys are like, do you think there's like Maurice, the orangutan,
Yeah.
is talking to Caesar, and he's like, do you think there's any more? And he's like, I don't know. I'm sure we'll find out sometime. This whole thing, but just long story short, the humans are there. Like, one of them accidentally shoots, if you remember Rocket for the first one, it looked like he was bald.
Yeah, the one who looked like he had mange.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's Rocket. But,
Yeah.
like, the guy, like, shoots his son. Then, like, all the other monkeys come and stuff like that. And, like, the guys are like, we didn't mean to hurt anything like that, blah, blah, blah. They're all sitting there. Then Caesar just goes, go!
Yeah.
And then, like, all the other ones are like, go!
Yes.
The guys are like, oh! Like, freaking out. They're like, is that fucking happening? Like, are they talking? But they're just like, go! I would have shat myself. I'd been like, oh no,
We're just gonna go. We're gonna
I
go.
am going in my pants.
The one thing I'll ask you this, and I don't think it'll be a spoiler because I honestly don't know, and I don't know if it came up later or not. But early on, people were saying like, "Oh, where's James Franco and things?" And I had this idea.
It's
and
10 years after the
I'm
first
pretty
one.
sure he's dead.
Oh yeah.
That's because his house was basically ground zero for the virus outbreak. So it's, I guess his house and his neighbor. So,
Yeah, his neighbor was
spoilers for everybody.
His neighbor was really it with being the pilot.
Yeah.
But
his buddy and the net pilot that
Yeah.
kind of did it from there. But
yeah, there is no James Franco, though it alludes to them.
I know
as
in the
well.
previews it shows him going back to his house and looking
Yeah,
at the
he
video
ends up
camera
there.
and all that stuff. So
That's
that'll be
towards
cool.
the end. But yeah, the story awesome. I can't say enough about both friggin' Andy Serkis as Caesar and Toby Kebbell as Koba. But
Yeah.
all the
Andy Serkis as every monkey.
yes, Andy Serkis, he's got to win an Oscar sooner or later.
He's
for
got to
those.
be fucking Beast Boy. He's like part animal. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but they did such a good job, and the actual human actors are good. Are
The
really
actual
good.
humans
are really good in it. I mean, Gary Oldman's always good. Kerry Russell's good in it, but I mean, all the acting was really good. The action was awesome.
I'm very
Whole movie,
excited for
absolutely worth it to watch. There's really not much of a stinger, so don't stay through the credits. If you really want to know what happens, it's like a sound, but I won't tell you what it is until you've seen the movie.
it. It's an AT-AT. Just for
No,
anybody
but it's not worth. I really wanted.
It's a monkey flying a helicopter. That's the sound. It's Rise of the Valkyrie is what you hear.
Yeah, I was really hoping that it would be like like another monkey being born, and they're like, oh, what do you want to name him? Like, let's name him Zeus or something.
Yeah.
I was like, that'd be awesome. There's nothing like that.
Is this supposed to be the last one before? Like the continuity?
No,
There's
they're still humans.
It's supposed to be a trilogy. This, from what I
is
understand,
it?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know what the actual plans for this franchise was. So.
it'll probably be. Well, I was gonna say Conquest, but that can't
That's
be right.
what this is. This is Conquest.
This is Dawn.
No, I was gonna say the next movie would be like and I was like, well, I guess it's not. They can't say Conquest because we've already got that.
Well, Conquest is what Rise is based off.
No, I was just saying as a title for the
Oh,
movie,
yeah, yeah,
Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. And I was like, no, they can't do that.
It would be a
Movie.
playoff of whatever Battle for the Planet of the
Yeah.
Apes would be. So it would have to be like Attack with the Planet of the
Yeah.
Apes.
Yeah, like this one, the way the movie,
Fighting with the Planet of the Apes.
Domination of
the way the movie ends, where we still haven't seen the full out war yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the movie
That's the
ends
next
with
part, yeah.
yeah. I guess to give kind of a whole plot, just quick synopsis. They find the humans. They try to work with the humans so the humans can get electricity to their place. Koba thinks that they shouldn't be trusted, so he forms his own thing. Caesar ends up having to, so he kind of starts a fight with the humans in San Francisco. Caesar saves the day or whatever, but at the end, like he's like, you got to go. Like Caesar's saying it to the humans, like it's their place. But he's like, oh no, we don't have to do this. Like there doesn't have to be a war. And like Caesar's like, no, the war's already started. The apes started it, but the humans won't forgive us. So you got to go. So he's like the reluctant side of it. Like he's like, it's on now. I don't want it to be, but we're gonna have to fight you. So get out.
Yeah,
It's
that's
funny
a
because-
cool, interesting take on it.
Yeah.
It's so funny because like growing up, my mom made me watch those. Not I say made, but loosely.
That's what
Yeah.
I said. Part of me wished they talked like
Yeah.
real fine and stuff like that, but I was like, eh.
But like my mom was like, "Oh, you gotta watch these movies." I'm like, "I'm fucking interested in those shitty old movies," Like it was just one of those things as a kid. And then I watched the first one, and I was like, "All right, I'm kind of feeling it." And then like I started watching, I was like, by the third movie, I'm like, "Let's watch all these movies."
Yeah, that's how it was
And
with
I'm
my dad.
so surprised that my mom of all people hasn't seen them because she like literally literally forced me to watch like those and like
Oh, she
fucking
hadn't seen the new ones?
Soylent Green and like all these other old movies that she used to make me
The
watch.
Omega Man.
Fucking Space Odyssey and shit. Yeah, I was like watching the very first one and shit and hearing him say things like all the little homages when they, like, oh, this is his mother, Bright Eyes, and I was like, why is that ringing a bell? That's hitting the place of me that I can't remember why. I was like, oh, I know why. It's like, it's Charlton Heston.
My favorite one is still Tom Felton, Draco Malfoy, when he's like, "Get your hands off me, you damn dirty ape!" I was like, "Ah, there it is."
Yeah,
and then of course I told her this. I saw the movie. Oh no, I watched it. I didn't see it in theaters. I watched it back at the house, the original one, Rice, by myself. But when he finally goes, "No!" I like cheered. I was like, "There it is!"
Yeah.
Because I didn't know if they were going to get into the talking or not in the first one, and I was like, "Yes!"
Yeah, that was. I remember. I saw that in the theater, and I don't remember who I was with, but I remember when it happened. Everybody went, "Oh!" I was like, "Oh shit!" Like I was like, I got chills.
Yeah, that's
good stuff. That's a great fucking movie.
so. I recommend everybody go see it.
I can't let it go past without saying that my son is actually named after Caesar, who was originally, his birth name was Milo.
Nice.
But yeah, when in the Escape from Planet of the Apes,
Yeah.
in Conquest, that's when he like learns
Very
how to
cool.
read and he gets the
I need to
name
go back
Caesar.
and watch those older ones.
I haven't seen them in a very long time, but they're good stuff.
I've seen all of them a lot of times.
Actually, I don't think I've seen any of the old ones at all.
Really?
Yeah.
They're
That's
fantastic.
the first one especially is really good and holds up very, very well.
I went back and showed Brittany the Simpsons part with the musical. The Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen
Dr.
that,
Zayas.
but I've not
He's like,
actually...
I can sing from chimpanzee to chimpanzee.
That starts soon, by the way, the Simpsons marathon.
That was one of my other
Oh, I
news bits I
apologize.
was going to talk
Go
about.
for it.
FX is starting at August 21st at 10 a.m. Eastern. They are showing every Simpsons episode ever in order, and it's going to end on September 1st. It's 11 and a half days of
12
Simpsons.
days straight is what they're billing
really
it as.
cool.
Yeah, and they're playing the movie.
12 Days of Simpsons.
Yeah.
It felt like 12 Days of
Like,
Christmas.
I
It's
don't
gonna
know if
be
you guys have
so
seen the
awesome.
commercials, but like during the strain, the commercials are fucking hilarious
Or
because
it's
you
like
have
the
no idea.
abandoned city or
It
whatever.
looks like a post-apocalyptic world. Lawnmowers are like running away, shit's like water hoses,
Yeah.
hydrants, and like explosions. And then
that
it
came
just-
on during Strain, too, which
Yeah,
is
that's what I
so
was
weird.
talking
Yeah.
about,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
And then it
Well, it's because
pans.
it's on the same channel.
Yeah, pans to the couch, and the guy's just sitting there like
It's
watching
like
The Simpsons.
His house is flooding from like the
tub and
kitchen
shit,
being
yeah.
on, or the kitchen sink.
Me and Brooke were so confused when that commercial came on. I was like, man, I feel like they skipped a lot.
I
Like,
wanna
I don't know what's
I want to
happening.
go on record in saying FX has the worst segue into commercial breaks on the history of television. Like, I don't even notice half the times when they jump into the Sons of Anarchy commercials. I'm like, what's happening?
Yeah.
Oh, this is a different thing.
You can always tell because like the TV MA comes up in the corner. You're like, oh, it's a commercial.
Well, like, I guess I just don't notice that. Like, I'm
Yeah.
just trying to, especially since
Be in
they
the
jump
zone.
at the worst parts. Like, I mean, like you do with television, obviously, but,
Yeah, it has suspense.
oh.
What else we got to talk about?
I have got something.
Well, who cares? No, I'm joking.
Stalling for time.
No, more Fantastic Four news, but I think this is a little bit better.
It's almost like we're just talking about something we don't want to talk about. More Fantastic Four news,
Totally
I
a
guess.
bitter pill.
It's kind of bad news followed by, I guess, some better news. They're not going to have anything for Comic-Con, is what they're saying. Even though they're like halfway through filming the movie and stuff like
That
that.
didn't surprise me for
That's
some
the
reason.
good news.
I'm calling that the bad news. I would like to see something, but they said that they want to take their time and pick their spots.
It's not all affiliated with comics. Why would they show up at Comic-Con?
Well, that's kind of that's the better news that I'm getting at.
This is going to
Like
be a running gag for the next year.
Simon
Cowell?
Kinberg.
Oh.
No, the guy he's like the Jeff Johns for DC
Oh, okay.
or the Joe
Got
Quesada
it.
with the
For Fox.
For Fox, yeah.
Okay.
He's talking about that interview with Kate Barr, and he's like, let's reevaluate what she said. She goes, we're not saying that it has nothing to do with the comics. We're saying that the movie has nothing to do with a specific storyline. How Days of Future Past movie that just came out was based off the Days of Future Past comic line. Or, he brings up, he's like, how, Iron Man 3 was based off of Extremis.
Yeah.
He's like, we're not doing any of that. We're picking core components from the comics, and we're going to just kind of make our own story. It's going to be based around the comics and the tone and the basic like story of the family and everything like that. But we're not just basing it off of a single storyline. He's like, I think what she was trying to say, but it came out wrong.
The fact still stays that he told her not to read any comics at all. So.
Simon Kinberg didn't tell her to do that, but
yeah,
the director Josh Trank did.
You know, I'm sure when he watched that interview with her, as soon as she said that, he was like, "Oh no!"
Yeah,
He's like, "They're gonna crucify us."
This is the worst crowd to do this to.
Yeah, that had to have hurt.
Yeah.
Like, no!
Sue Storm is a guy now in this one. I don't know if you guys know that. We don't care about the comics.
That's actually who Michael B. Jordan is playing.
Sue Storm.
Yeah.
Stan Storm. That's the same name.
Stu Storm.
Stu Storm.
Stu Storm, there you go.
And Joanne Storm. His sister who turns into fire.
It's because he burned her.
But only 4 days out of the month.
Oh, that made me sad. Here's a piece of
My mind.
technology-ish news. Google is going to stop labeling free-to-play freemium apps as free apps. They're not going to be in the free app section anymore.
Oh, good.
Because they feel that they're kind of
paid.
cheating, yeah. They're going to list them. Well, I should say we don't know that they're going to list them as paid. We just know they won't be in the list of the top free apps anymore, just free apps in general.
Probably have a third category now.
It's
It could
possible.
be.
Yeah, that's what I'm
they'll
hoping for.
probably
Is
just
it's
push it
a
under paid.
category.
Category is going to be called free, but you're going to pay.
Freemium. That's
Yeah.
what they should be fucking
I mean, that's
called.
what the genre is called unofficially. So
And I guess kind of similarly related to apps and technologies that Microsoft announced today that they are merging all of their operating systems into one cohesive environment. Their Windows Phone OS, their tablet OS, and their desktop OS is all going to be the same functional thing where you can write an app for one and it will guaranteed 100% write on or work on every.
That's either good
device.
news for the phones or horrible news for the computer.
and
Yeah.
well, if I interpreted it correctly, it also means that we're not going to see any more of the generational differences like home, professional.
No, we'll
premium.
still see those. They're still going to
You
have
think
tiered.
they're still gonna do that?
It said it in the article.
Okay.
They're still going to have tiered ones because they're going to offer different services to each one, like professional and they said starter, home, professional, and like enterprise and whatever's above enterprise, corporate or some shit. But we'll no longer see like. I can run this on my PC, but I need a different kind of phone because the Windows Phone doesn't run it or whatever. I think this is probably more an attempt on their part to get a bigger app store for their phone that's just not building an app store still.
Well, that and the other perk is if you build an app for their phones, you've built an app for the computer.
Exactly right. And that's what they're saying is that basically they're not requiring developers to do any extra legwork now. Basically, you write an app for one platform and their OS is what adjusts it for the different
Scales, resolutions,
different
and
resolutions and whatnot. So that'll be really cool. I'm excited to see. And also this also crosses over into Xbox as well. The Xbox One is going to be identical. So you could write an Xbox One game on your Windows PC. That also means that any Xbox games we see will be pretty much a shoe-in to see on PC with no real
there's
modifications.
No reason not to.
Yeah.
It's actually a smart and interesting design for future because then it's going to push the argument into what's the point of getting a console, but you know what I mean, when it's all
Or
designed.
from the console side of it, the reverse. Why would you have a
yeah.
gaming PC when you have a console? But I'm with you.
Yeah, it's going to make that a bigger argument for certain.
I think that's really really cool way to do it. This new dude who's running Microsoft is I dig him. He's doing cool shit. I mean, this is like the second or third thing that he's done that I've read from him in interviews and thought, man, that's a clever idea. They're really doing it right.
I'm not going to say, because it'd be silly to say that they're a failing company, but I mean, in the grand scheme of things, they have lost a lot of steam in the last decade. Due to the...
Xbox has been, even since the 360, has been a net loss product every year. They lose money from the 360. Even at the end, they were losing money from it every year.
This year, though, with the full Xbox One, at the 1 year, they're projecting to be up by a significant amount. So
it's a good thing.
Especially because of the, apparently they sold a shit ton of consoles when they dropped the Kinect off of
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people I guess if you're really, really afraid of the always-on thing, but that didn't bug me as much as
I just don't
the eye, not the...
I'm just
the
not
voice,
going to use it. So.
Yeah, the voice direction's cool, but I wouldn't use it.
Oh, I use the fuck out of that.
I use it a pretty heavy amount with mine, but anymore because of my media server, I'm not really on it too much. But
and it's one of those things that if I had it, I would probably use it, but I'm not gonna buy it just for that.
I find when I'm playing,
I'd save the money and just
and I didn't. I
get a
bought it
game.
because that's what it was.
Yeah.
That's all you had.
Yeah.
You didn't buy it. Who are you kidding?
I spent $150 in coupons of Mountain Dew and Doritos.
You bought it with your fucking health.
He bought it with years of his life.
I worked them off.
I find though with the voice commands, it works best. Like for me, the time I find them the handiest is when I'm in the control and I'm navigating menus. Because like if I'm, for example, when me and Cal were playing The Hobbit, there was an issue where he accidentally put it in some fucking foreign language. I had to delete the save file and shit like that and mess around with it. Where I was like, I don't know how to get to this menu. And I was just like, Xbox, go to settings. Go to memory management, whatever it was. And just jumping around real quick. And I didn't even have, but I'm still holding the control. But things like that. But whereas like Netflix, much easier to navigate with the control.
Yeah, until they refine like the voice recognition for like searches and stuff like that, it's going to be wonky. And for the most part, I do the same thing. Other than when I'm using just the TV guide, I do the tandem voice combination and controls because it's just faster.
Yeah, definitely so. I agree. What else we got to talk about?
I'm out.
Yeah. You had the tech stuff you
I
wanted.
do.
Nope, I lied. Hang on one second. Have you seen the new NVIDIA Shield tablet that's coming out?
Oh, I heard something about it, but I don't
This
know.
sounds
talked
cool.
about this
no,
before.
I don't think we've mentioned this at all.
This is a new thing.
We
over
talked
the past
about the
couple
old
days.
Shield
I
a
was
year
gonna say,
ago.
we talked
which
about
was
the
a
Shield,
handheld.
yeah.
This is actually a 2-part device. It is an 8-inch tablet, and then basically an Xbox control is what it looks like, but the joystick and the D-pad are switched, which was a dumb decision because the way Xbox does it is right.
Yeah.
But anyway, the premise is the control sells for $40, and the tablet sells for, I think it's $300 and $400 depending on the size.
Still pretty decent price.
Absolutely, it's on par power level with the Nexus 7, which means it's only slightly more than the Nexus 7, and you get all the features of the Shield. It's designed to mirror your desktop at home, so you can play games on the go and stuff like that if you have Wi-Fi access.
Sure.
The controller is built in natively, so people are already talking about how easy it's going to be to emulate the Wii and GameCube and shit.
That's cool. That's definitely
And
cool.
like if you actually saw the Shield, the one complaint people had was the screen was so small in the original one. Like when you were even playing like Borderlands and stuff like that, it was hard to see what was going on.
Yeah, I bet.
It was just a little too small. But this is an 8-inch tablet, and they're selling a special case with it that's designed to flip it up like the iPad case and mount it, and so you can game on the go.
I was gonna say because the old one was the controls attached to it, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was basically a hinged.
Which
Yeah.
was probably heavy as fuck to counterbalance in your hands while
A
you're.
lot of people said it wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Is what I've
Like
heard.
yeah, it was fairly lightweight for the design, and the only real complaint was that the LCD screen was smaller than
small.
most phones. Yeah,
It was like 5 inches.
yeah,
Which I mean, yeah, I guess that's about the size of most phones nowadays.
Anymore, yeah.
yeah.
I wanted to say something real quick on the comics front.
No.
Dynamite, not too long ago, it was just a couple months ago, probably 6-7 months, they got the rights and started publishing old Gold Key comic books. So,
Like Adam.
yeah, like the Man of Adam or whatever he's called, Solar or Solar.
Yeah, Solar. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm surprised I remember that.
And then Turok, the dinosaur hunter.
Fucking Turok.
And Magnus Robot Fighter, and I gave Magnus Robot Fighter a shot, and then I read all of them that they've done, which
Yeah,
I think
really
is
cool.
like it's like 5 issues and then an issue 0 that talks all about the singularity with robots. And holy shit, that's possibly my favorite comic book right now, which I was not expecting to say that Magnus Robot Fighter was going to be my favorite
I
comic
mean, it's
book.
got a pretty
but
spectacular name.
Yeah, no shit.
it's basically
Nice.
about it starts off and it's a guy Magnus who is like a teacher for social studies,
I was gonna say
and
who is a robot fighter.
and he
Probably
also
even know.
does like phys ed, like it's like judo or something, some kind of kung fu that he's teaching, and he's got like this computer AI guy that runs the city that he's in, and he's got a wife who's expecting a child, and everything's happy, and then they get attacked by robots, and then he
Like you
wakes,
do.
but then he wakes up immediately, and he's like pulled out of the Matrix, and everything is different, and this whole thing that he's been living this whole entire time was like a program that was run by this AI called A1, and he now has to live in this world where it's almost completely run by robots, and there's only a few humans, and the role is completely reversed. Anyone that's familiar with like Isaac Asimov's rule of robotics, where it's like the first rule is that you have to protect humans, and then second rule is you're supposed to, I can't remember exactly what the order
Obey
is,
their
but
commands or
yeah,
something.
obey all their commands as long as those commands don't conflict with rule
first rule.
1, and then the third rule is you have to protect yourself as long as that doesn't conflict with rules 1 or 2.
Right.
Except that this is reversed. Humans have to do that to the robots now.
That's intriguing.
Yeah, and then there's like this church that is like the ruler of the robots and the
I
people.
was gonna say, well, few people left,
And-
and we have fucking churches. How'd that work?
And it's basically I think it's a human. It might be a robot. I'm pretty sure it's a human though. It's kind of hard to tell sometimes. And he says that humans created the robots, so the robots should protect the humans. And so these robots have like little baby humans sometimes that they're like weaning and like having them grow up and shit. But anyway, there's a whole lot of little stuff in this comic that is hilarious to me. Like, for instance, there's one little
I got
robot.
a quick question.
Go for it.
Does he fight the robots, or does he
does.
fight with the robots?
He fights the robots almost immediately, because when he gets pulled out of the robot tube, they're like, "Oh, that
Punches
guy
one
was
in the face.
that guy was trained by A1 to be like reckless and try and destroy our established, status quo." So they like try and fight him, and he immediately panics and is like, "I don't know what you are and why you're attacking me." And he rips one robot's arm off and cuts one in half with the arm and punches someone's head off and shit.
Does
And
he
I'm
have like superpowers?
holy
Or is he a
fuck.
normal person?
Well, he's like basically, it's almost Captain America like, as far as he's a human still. He's not quote unquote super, but for some reason he's at like the peak of what a human could possibly be. So he knows exactly how to punch things in the proper way to like knock their heads off and shit like that. And apparently the
I know
robots are
Kung
not
Fu.
very strong. But anyway, he meets immediately when he gets into this jail, he meets this robot called H8, and he is
That's all I heard too.
well, yeah, but wait, and he has been
There's more.
He's been what's the word?
Programmed?
No, like when something is no longer good, they like take it off the shelf.
Repurposed? Recycled?
Recalled?
Recalled, yes. His robot, he's a robot that's been recalled. So all robots that have been recalled have an R at the end of his name. So his name is H8R. And so they call him Hater. And the funniest part is the reason he was recalled is because he has outdated software programs. So he talks using Ebonics. So he's like running around like, "Come on, homie, what the bleep are you doing?" And they actually put in bleep because in the future, I guess, they don't say shit or fuck. They say bleep literally. And that's one thing that Magnus says. Like, someone goes, "What the bleep were you thinking?" And he goes, "Bleep? Really?" And
Can't live in that future already.
and then he's like trying. He's
I
like
bleep myself.
he's like running, and then this
Fuck me
human
too.
is trying to fight him, and she's like, "You're the robot fighter, and all robot fighters are bad." And then Magnus saves a robot, and then everyone is like watching these screens of what's going on, and they're like, "Whoa, plot twist! The robot fighter just saved a robot." And then there's a guy that looks exactly like Dude from The Big Lebowski, who's a robot version, and he goes, "Whoa, man, that's pretty sweet." And it just like is one panel, and it like totally cracks me
How
up.
many
So
issues of this are out?
there's 1 through 5, and then an issue 0 that talks only about the singularity between robots and humans. But the cool thing about
so we
this,
can start on 6 because we just read the first 5.
I'm
yes,
interested in
and
it.
issue 6 comes out pretty soon. But there's a lot of little shit that made me crack up the whole entire time. There's a lot of really fun action, and for people like Logan, there's a whole lot of talk about like the science and the physics that are going on, and then
Love
like
it.
the politics of the church ruling things, and it's like everything about it is just really interesting to people that have a slightly more intellectual approach to things, but at the same time there's just really silly humor at the same time. So yeah, it's mind-blowingly good. That accompanied with all the other stuff that Dynamite's doing right now makes me think Dynamite is like my favorite comic company right now.
I'm interested in hearing more about Turok.
I haven't read that one, but that one and Solar are
Dinosaurs?
both on my
Dinosaur Hunter.
list.
They got Turok, Dinosaur Hunter, and Magnus Robot Fighter.
They're pretty on the nose with their titles.
And then there's going to be Sven Monster Lover.
It's going to be
There's
plot twist. He doesn't
remember-
love him.
I can't remember what the other one was, but there's another one and it has that same sort of name where it's like a guy and then his title. I can't remember what it is now.
Another comic book thing I was going to
Steve,
mention.
Desk Jockey.
Desk Puncher.
Not a very good comic.
Future's End is a book series in DC right now. It's
Oh,
really, really cool. It's the first issue.
I got the first one on Free Comic Book Day. I just haven't.
The very first issue, like, I see a very familiar person on the cover, and it's fucking Terry McGinnis as Batman Beyond Batman.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I'm intrigued immediately. So I open up and start reading, and it's basically him. He's been sent back in time, a la Terminator, to stop this big event from happening, and it's apparently Brother Eye taking
I was
over.
going to say killed Batman.
But Alfred is his
That's Looper.
Alfred is like his Jarvis in his head and his suit right now, so he does all of his thinking and shit for him essentially. But it's supposed to be 5 years from now, and that's also, remember I was talking about the issue where Green Arrow died. That's not a spoiler, by the way. It's like the opening bit of this comic. It's supposed to be 5 years from now. He dies because Firestorm doesn't show up to help him. Jason Rush and Ronnie Raymond. Jason's trying to get Ronnie to come, but Ronnie's kind of like, I don't want any part of this.
feeling
And I'm
that
just-
night.
Can't
He's
get an
tired.
erection.
No, he's actually he's fucking some girl, basically. And he's like, Jason is like, Green Arrow's called us. He needs our help. He's like, I'm done being Firestorm. I'm done with that bullshit. I don't want to do it anymore. So
Just let him
Clean
die.
died. Pretty much, yeah. And then he dies. He gets killed. And now Ronnie Raymond is keeping Jason Rush trapped in his head so that he can't tell anybody. He will not discharge the Firestorm Matrix because all the heroes, like fucking Arsenal's there, and he's like, "You fucking did this. This is your fault. He called you to help. You didn't do it. Whatever." And he's like, "No, I tried. I was hung up with this other thing, and I was trying to fight." And he's like, "That's funny because I checked the Justice League blah 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 computer, and you were actually you didn't respond to the call until an hour, or you didn't even become Firestorm until an hour after he." Sent out the distress signal to you, and the whole time Jason is in his head, and he's like, "Ronnie, let me out. I can explain this, whatever." And Arsenal's like, "You're a fucking liar," and they like start going back and forth at his funeral, at like Oliver's funeral. It's this big thing, and shit's getting hot, and then finally he takes off. But no, it's pretty damn cool.
He just said shit's getting hot with Firestorm.
Yeah. But no, what's really really cool is that. I lost it. No, they've kind of redone Mr. Terrific, and he's actually pretty damn cool now, as he was terrible in the first run they tried of him, but now he's still like super smart.
52 or
New 52's
That's
Mr. Terrific was awful. It was just an awful
He
run.
says one where he's like walking down the street and
This feels like
high five.
yeah,
I
exactly.
didn't care much for original Mr. Terrific either, so
He the whole plot has been
He looks cooler too.
Terry trying to get to Terrifitech to do some shit we're not sure of yet, but to stop Brother Eye somehow because Mr. Terrific's responsible for it. But he's very kind of hood for the most part now. But he's really kind of, I can't really explain him very well. He's kind of Michael Clark Duncan as Kingpin kind of hood. You know what I mean? And that he's very connected to the streets, but he's still like a super smart dude. His bodyguards are all kind of P. Diddy-esque bodyguards that are walking around in suits and shit, but they're big tough fucking thugs for the most part. But no, his suits and shit look really cool that he wears now. He'll wear like a suit that'll be like all white, but he'll be wearing a black undershirt with it, and then there'll just be kind of a T cut out of the white suit, so where it's hanging open looks like a T and shit. It's really cool. But so far, like I'm on issue 3 or 4 out of I think 7 that are out right now, and it's been really really good. It's all like kind of the future of where the heroes are. You get to see some kind of 5 year from now costume, like Aquaman's costume looks really really cool. They've kind of changed it a little bit. He's kind of got this like his belt kind of turns into these things that go up his side, and it looks really cool. But yeah, for the most part, they're all it's all been pretty awesome, and it's definitely worth a read. Terry McGinnis has been really cool in it. He's full on Batman Beyond again.
Nice.
They even drew him to look exactly like he did on Batman Beyond.
Well, yeah, they've got the actual Batman Beyond comic book in New 52 right now, and that's actually drawn by Norman Brayfogle.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a freestanding book by itself
Yep.
right now.
Yes, sir.
I don't
is
know
it
how I missed
actually
that.
out? Or
Yeah.
I knew it
It
was
must only
coming.
be a couple issues in then, isn't it?
Started like in October, I think.
So that's a year old.
Wow.
I don't know how I would have missed that.
Yeah, I don't remember ever seeing that either.
Are you sure it wasn't like a one-off or a one title book or
Pretty
something?
sure.
Speaking of DC Comics, did you read that Robin Rises or whatever? Omega?
Not yet. I haven't gotten
Seen
there
the
yet.
cover.
Oh,
I saw the
man.
cover. Yeah, Ooh, I'm excited.
I read it. I read the first issue. And
Yeah?
it's cool, but like Batman's kind of different
Yeah,
just because of like the circumstances that are going on. Like
it's got to be a direct continuation of what's going on in fucking Dark Knight, maybe, or maybe it's just regular Batman. But he's been chasing Ra's with the fucking coffins and shit.
yeah, that's where this starts. Is
Yeah.
he's basically staring down Ra's. And
I'm about
they've got-
5 issues behind.
They've got the
overall.
2 coffins, and then immediately like fourth world stuff starts happening, and it's like whoa,
Yeah.
it's like totally worlds collide sort of
Nice.
shit. So I recommend it. It seems like this is a big deal issue as far as setting up a really big story arc for the future.
Oh, I wonder if they're going to... Because, that's the other thing, is that in Future's End, they talk a lot about the war, and they never really tell you what it's about. And apparently it's some war that Apocalypse... that Darkseid has... this is the same fucking character. He's kind of brought Earth 1 and 2 together. And there's this weird shit going on where, like, there's this, like, anti-alien bias where, like, they're tours and they're oneers and stuff like that where they don't like each other. And
Xenophobes to parallel universes.
yeah, it's kind of weird like that. But
how it
Mr.
wasn't
Terrific
Fringe.
Mr. Terrific has been a big part in
Spoilers,
uniting.
bro.
I'm sorry, Green Arrow has been a big part in uniting the 2 Earths and like being kind of on the front, like one humanity and things like that.
And now he's dead.
And that's when he died. That's when like a lot of people have lost their minds and shit. It was actually Booster. Was it Booster? Animal Man's eulogy he gives is really really cool about Green Arrow and shit. It's been very very good so far.
Shit, Batman Beyond, the new comic started in August 2013.
Man, I don't know how I've missed it, considering I've watched like every title that's come out. I don't know how I missed that shit.
Batman Beyond 2.0 is what it's called.
Interesting.
I remember hearing that it was
Is
going
it
to
New
come out a long
52
time ago, but I
continuity,
don't
though, or is
remember
it-
ever seeing it.
Is it an
I
Elves
don't
type thing?
know.
Or is it just a...
I'm thinking it can't be an actual part of the New 52 because I've watched the weekly. This is what came out.
That's
in
what
New
I've been
52.
watching the drops
Yeah.
and stuff every
I've
week.
been
That's
doing
what I
that
said.
basically
It
since
might
it
not be.
started, so I don't remember ever seeing it on
Could be the
that.
same like thread as like the Kitty Teen Titans comics.
Yeah,
and shit
yeah,
like
still
that.
like that, where it's kind of a peripheral thing. It's not an actual
Yeah,
part of
that
the
might be
traditional
the case.
52 continuity.
Did you see that they're actually doing a sequel to Fight Club in comics?
I heard about it. I haven't heard very many details about it beyond that they're doing
I've seen
it.
what I assume to be the first cover, and it looks like what's her name? Not Mona. The Helena Bonham Carter's character.
Yeah, yeah.
Sure.
I can't remember her
She
character.
plays basically the same character.
Yeah.
Herself.
Yeah.
Her character and the main character, Ed Norton, like at a marriage altar.
All right.
Like, I don't understand how it could be good. Like, apparently it's at least overseen by Chuck Palahniuk, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That seems like one that
It did
wouldn't
not need anything
Yeah,
extra.
it does not need anything extra. It had a beginning, a
it's
middle, and an
very
end, and the
clear
end was very clear cut and
It's supposed to be, I think,
Final,
7 or 10
like-
issues.
That reminds me of what people always say about like Scrubs. I never watched that show, but people talk about like
The
how
last season shouldn't have existed.
the second to last season concluded and
yeah,
like
it had
ended.
an
and,
end.
Like they even show, apparently even like in the I don't know, but like I said, that what I read on Reddit was like they showed like the thing where they go and you can actually see the camera crew and people rush to the set and are like happy and high fiving at the end of
Yeah.
season 8 finale or whatever. And then they just wanted more money, so it's like season
Yeah, and
9.
then they do basically like the
Saved by the
college
Bell, the
years.
new class.
Exactly, new
Yeah.
class. It's that sort of a thing where they're
You know what's
like,
fucked up is Saved by the Bell New Class actually ran longer than Saved by the Bell did.
I heard that. I actually read that on
Yeah,
today
most
on
people
there.
don't know
I've
that.
not seen hardly any of it.
It was
so,
terrible.
Like,
I mean, you can't compare them. They were one's an iconic part of our childhood, and the other one was the new class.
the other existed in one show.
It's not New 52.
I didn't think it was because I've been watching the drops for that every week. Fucking another small thing too is that I was reading one of the Batman lines and it had Ra's al Ghul in there, and I started thinking again because somebody was discussing with me how you pronounce the name, and I can't remember what it was, and I was like, I can't. I knew I had read somewhere definitive that it was pronounced Ra's, and I couldn't remember where. And I started doing some research, and apparently Denny O'Neil has said it's Ra's al Ghul. So that was kind of my the creator of the character.
Yeah.
That was like my and then who else was it? Neil Adams or somebody else confirmed that it is, but that doesn't sound right. I don't think it's Neil Adams, but somebody else backed him up. Was like, yeah, it's definitely Ra's al Ghul. But apparently, the actual pronunciation of that word, like from an Arabic standpoint, should be pronounced Ras al Ghul. I think is how it should. It was like AA is how they were saying. I think it should be pronounced like Ras al Ghul.
Oh, the Neil Adams interview with Kevin Smith, he said he actually went to a language professor and they said it's Raish.
That's interesting. Again, I'm only going by like the comments on this forum that I found.
Yeah.
But somebody was like, as somebody who speaks, blah 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 blah, and that word should be pronounced Ross, but he was like, I'll accept it. It's a name. So if Billy wanted to tell me his name is pronounced Biley, I'd be like, well, that's stupid, but I'll say it. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, I usually say Ra's al Ghul, but like
That's how I've
hearing
always
my
said
dad
it.
has always said it Raish, and like at the comic book store, it was like hit or miss. Everybody said it differently. So I always end up saying, I usually say race, but I flip back and forth.
I remember I started saying race because I can't remember what book it is to save my life, but there was a book I was reading and I can't remember, but whoever the writer was put the long A symbol over it, and I was like, oh, it must be like race or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was kind of saying that, and then my uncle said race, so I kind of was like, oh, it's race.
That's how they
That's
say it
why
in
I
the
said
Arkham games too.
race, yeah. And that was another point. Somebody was like, in the Arkham games, they say race too.
In the animated, didn't they say Ra's though?
No, they say race. And
do
actually,
say
this
race?
is funny because you would say that because on this this particular forum, somebody said, if that doesn't settle it, this will. And it was actually, it was some character in the animated series. I can't remember who it was. I want to say it was Robin, but that doesn't make sense to me. Somebody says, God damn it, I can't remember what character it was, but somebody says, like, Ra's al Ghul to Talia, and she said, my father's name is Raish. And she, like, says it just like that, and I was like, oh, okay.
That's awesome.
And I was like, I guess that kind of sells it, but she even, like, looks at it funny and says, my father's name is Raish. And he
You
was
think
just
they're
like,
going to do that in
sorry.
the Constantine show? That someone's going to go, hey, Constantine, and he goes, my name is Constantine.
Yeah.
And then everyone's going to go, whoa, what
That'll
the
be
fuck?
the last episode I watch right there.
I think it would be funny. It would even be a funny point of contention if he was just always pissed off about people saying it wrong, and that was just kind of it. Like he would just fuck it, who cares?
Yeah.
You know, one of those things. I had
Like
a buddy.
almost a meta joke or something like
Yeah.
that. The shit's blowing up and he's casting a spell and somebody yells his name.
I had a buddy whose last name was Hollinger, and I was like, and people would say like Hollinger sometimes. I was like, Brian, was it Hollinger or Hollinger? He's like, fuck, I don't know. He was like, just whatever you feel like saying. He was like, I'll answer either one of them.
That's how my buddy Kindale is. His name is actually pronounced Kindale, but every single person calls him Kindle, like a fire.
Yeah.
And so, like, every once in a while, I'll slip and say Kindle, and then our mutual friend Jasper is like, don't you mean Kindale? And I was like, it's the same fucking person. Like, he'll answer to either one.
That reminds me of those fucking Framley plans from Sprint. It's Gordon.
It's Gordon.
Well, we have a friend whose last name is Smither, and everybody calls her Smithers.
Of course.
They always say it's Smithers.
Of
And
course
she
they
doesn't
do.
even correct people. She's
I mean,
like,
why would you?
I'm going to tell you right now, I had no idea until this point that
Smither.
there was no S at the end. And it's been a decade.
Yeah.
I would always ask her to say, release the hounds.
Release the hounds. Fucking, so yeah, I'll do my, we talked about before the pod started that I was going to do a, This Week in Science, or I guess last week.
Oh, hold on.
in
I
Science.
before you go into that,
Okay, go for it.
I have an X-Men update.
Okay.
Since we last talked about the comic, I read like 45, 50 issues. Professor
You
X
mean like
dies...
from a few minutes ago?
No. No, because we were talking about... I went on a few weeks ago, I talked about how I'd been catching up and how Professor X dies all the time. I was like, I've read like 45, 50 issues. And he hasn't died, so there's that. But I went to show Brittany that Wolverine and the X-Men cartoon that was on Nickelodeon a couple years ago.
Steve
No.
Bloom is the main
Yeah,
voice.
who was awesome.
Yeah, Steve Bloom
First
does
episode, Professor X died. I was like, son of a bitch.
The streak is broken.
Yeah.
He's an actual great Wolverine voice.
He was awesome.
He's
in
got
Wolverine.
that awesome gruff sound just on all of his voices that he does. So
And I actually watched all of I Know That Voice, the documentary.
I keep
It's
meaning
created
to.
Yeah,
by
I
John
keep wanting
DiMaggio.
to do that.
It's a really good documentary. for
Oh,
people,
I remember you talking
For
about that.
people who... It's on Amazon Prime streaming, so
Nice.
Yeah.
for anybody who enjoys
So that's one thing that's
voice
on there.
acting.
Actually, Amazon Prime has got a lot of
They
stuff.
got
It's
they
just,
got the original X-Men cartoons, and they've got the Wolverine and the X-Men.
they have all the
they've got
Doctor
a lot of-
Who stuff. They
Yeah,
have most
they've got a lot of stuff on
of
there.
Netflix's non-original stuff. They have.
I know I don't think we talked about this on the pod exactly, or maybe we did, but Ultimate Spider-Man's Wolverine voice, the guy who does Wolverine in Ultimate Spider-Man
He's
is really, really good as well. I like him quite a bit. The episode we talked about a bunch where him and Spider-Man switch bodies was just so fantastic, and hearing that actor do Peter Parker's like cadence and like, you know, freaking out and what do you mean I got, you know, whatever,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. So really, really good. Definitely worth watching that cartoon too if you're not familiar. Steve got me watching it, and it's a fantastic cartoon.
In, slightly, just real quick, I promise. In tech-related news, Amazon Prime is actually finally going to make an Android app.
Okay.
There didn't exist one.
There didn't exist one.
Like they refused to make one
Like
because,
like a streaming one.
for Prime.
Okay.
Like they didn't do it because they wanted you to get in the Amazon app market somehow.
It always pissed
We
me
don't
off.
want to make money.
Prime
Well,
for the
I
most
mean,
part, like with the
It
streaming,
sold Kindle some ways because you were already balls deep in Prime just for the fucking.
and that's one of the things that the new phone comes with is a free year of Prime.
Prime.
Apparently,
If that phone didn't suck so bad, it would be awesome. But that phone is really outdated for the price point.
it was like the BlackBerry Torch when it came out. If you remember
Ugh.
that. And they were like
Ugh.
leading processor, you know. It was like I was like, it's a 500 megahertz processor. There are literally 1 gig Snapdragons on the wall for months before this came out. Why would they even put that on their advertisement?
And
I
you
think
don't
that-
even have Pandora.
Yeah.
I'm like going off of like vague memories, but I'm pretty sure the Fire phone that just came out is the same specs or relatively similar to the S3. Which
Yep.
is, I mean, we're talking generations ago. Granted,
2
there haven't been
years.
huge leaps. It's enough to be like, why would I pay this much for a phone that's that old, essentially?
Yeah. That's that Amazon phone is destined to fail. But
It does 3D though. The wave of the future.
it's like all those other 3D
The
phones.
blurry
that failed.
nausea of the future.
Fucking, you say that owning a 3DS.
Well, I'd never play with it on.
Neither do I.
He just looks at a blank screen, pretends he's playing.
Rocks back and forth, so excited.
I think the
I'm
only,
going to get Gold Star.
only time I dial it up is for cutscenes, and then I've really got to concentrate. I'm gonna be like right here. Don't move my lips.
Yeah, there's a
don't move my
sweet
hands.
spot, and
Yeah.
then you just freeze. Don't even breathe.
because
You
of
just panic.
the parallaxic or whatever 3D.
Yeah.
Parallax.
It's like a yellow giant insect, and you gotta be careful.
Every time they say parallax, I'm like, well, that's not parallax, but okay.
Yeah.
So last week in science, anyway, Steve made me title this. I like it. There's some actually really, really cool things in this. The paper was published that friends are more genetically similar than strangers. And this is really interesting. I read it and I was
you were going to say like the TV show.
I thought
yes, they're all very, very closely related. This is really interesting. They did a study that it was based on a heart study that they did in this particular town that surveyed like 2,000 some odd people or whatever. And they found that people who were close friends shared about 0.1% of their DNA more than they did with strangers. And we don't really have any real anything we can do with this data yet, other than say that there must be some kind of subconscious or some attraction we have to other people who are similar to us in some way, some kind of deeper unknown factor, maybe pheromonal or something we're all attracted to. And I was like, well, it's because we're all fucking nerds. Maybe that's where it comes from. But yeah, you share 0.1% of your DNA with your close friends for the most part, at least the study found, which is the same as fourth cousins. Anyways, just to give you an idea of how closely related that is.
Well, seeing how the fact is your daughter for the longest time thought we were all you. I guess there's got to be something shared
at one point in time.
There's got to be something shared there.
Yeah, but I thought that was really interesting. Another important point anyway, scientists discovered a 520 million year old brain is actually the world's oldest predator. I'm going to probably pronounce this wrong, but Lyrarax or Lararapax, maybe. It's a Lyrarapax. Lararapax. It's basically a big shrimp. But they found the complete neural structures of this thing intact, fossilized, which is something that we've never ever had happen before. Huh. And one thing we found was that the predator's brain was surprisingly less complex than most of its prey. So it was somehow dumber than the animals it was eating on. But the brain shows how the species is apparently a distant relative of animals that we have alive today called velvet worms. But how they're connected. Yeah, they're very sexy. I have a velvet worm. This one's pretty cool. That's terrifying. I know. And painful.
Yeah, that just sounds like friction sadness.
Yeah, sad for Trish.
Got those big old ribs right down the sides.
Yeah, big sharp ribs. Big fucking...
What kind of corduroy pants you wear, nigga?
I wear pants that would hurt to be a penis. So another thing we found is that we found recently, this actually just happened too, Earth-like soil was found on Mars. This is kind of a big deal. And some of the older parts of Mars that are relatively unchanged by the winds and all that kind of shit. Yes, mostly cigarette butts, tissue, paper, shit like that on the ground. But no, it's nearly identical in chemical signature as soil from Earth and some of the much older areas on Mars. So
Half-Life 3 confirmed.
Half-Life 3 confirmed. That's the first thing I thought. The Large Hadron Collider, for the first time ever, gives us the Higgs boson acting as it should. One of the big predictions that we've had is that the way it's kind of a long story, but essentially we've had this theory of how these two different things called W and X bosons, I believe it is, W and X bosons are interacting with one another, and it required one of them to create a W boson to create the Higgs boson. We never have had that happen when they collide together. We've never been able to witness that happening, and we actually did, because it's like a 1 in quintillion chance of it ever happening, and we witnessed that happening. So it's super, super rare chance that we saw that. So now we have a confirmation that it's acting exactly as our theories predicted it would. That's kind of big news in the physics world. NASA, I almost read this as NASCAR, which is entirely different. NASCAR is teaming up with Canada. NASA and Canada.
Canada.
That's the new country.
Canadian.
It's Canadian. It's Canada. They're teaming up. NASA and Canada are teaming up to 3D map asteroids with lasers. This isn't such big news, but I guess the intent is to study them and find which places contain rich resources and shit like that. Yeah. This one's really cool. Biological pacemaker was created for the first time ever. Scientists, for the first time in history, reprogrammed a heart cell in a living animal to fix a broken pacemaker, essentially. They gave him one shot of this kind of gene therapy, and it rewrote the pig's defective, what they call sinus nodes, which are what control the rhythm of your heartbeat.
Palpitations.
And it fixed... Not only did it fix their irregular heartbeat, it also made it much stronger than it was before. So
superpowers.
Yeah, that's what
Captain
like,
America
fucking,
confirmed.
That's exactly what I was thinking. It's like fucking super soldier serum, super pig serum.
That
These
reminds
pigs are
me-
running like horses down the street.
I don't want
Oh
to
my
see a
God.
super pig. That would be terrifying.
Knocking cars out of the way.
I watched a YouTube video that was a heart transplant that the doctor did in like 7 minutes. Like you watch every like
Was it
snip
like on
that he makes
Surgery
and pulls it out.
Simulator 23?
Got your bones.
Get your bones.
It was like it blew my mind that you'd be able to like he completely removes one heart and puts another heart in there, connects everything, and then he like squeezes it in his hand, and then it starts beating, and then they clean the dude up, and I was like, holy fuck!
I feel like at the end he hits one of those chess clocks. He's like, time.
yeah, that's totally how I felt. He was like, record.
Yeah.
Someone give me a medal.
7 because don't those normally take hours and hours? To
Yeah, I've always heard
No,
that.
they
Just,
take 7 minutes apparently.
now.
I
You
figured
want to
that
be
that
the
would
guy
be.
that goes for the record on the table, though?
Well, I've always heard that like people getting bypass surgeries and stuff can take like most of a day, and I would assume. I mean, I guess I'm an idiot and don't know any
Well,
better, but I would assume that taking a whole heart out and replacing it would be a more like worrisome surgery that would take a lot more fine tuning than just a bypass.
For a little while,
Here's
this
the
human
difference,
doesn't
though.
have a heart.
Yeah,
in
he
them.
literally doesn't have a heart.
why you gotta
He's
go so
living on a
fast.
machine.
But like bypasses and stuff like
And a
that
prayer.
are like, or I'm gonna say this wrong, orthoscopic or whatever, where
I
a
think
lot
that's
of
right.
that, yeah, orthoscopic, where they have to send in the wires and cameras, and that's all like that's time consuming. Fucking heart surgery is literally open. They butterflied.
Yeah, that's
So-
how this guy was. He was just like completely ripped
crack
open
this
with a
bitch
giant
open.
metal.
Yeah, that noise makes me cringe. By the way, the actual like
Yeah,
sound
the sound of
crunk
snapping
when they
and
do that,
opening.
the
Yeah.
bones. Yeah,
like fucking celery twisting.
Did you guys see that thing about that 17-year-old boy in India who went to the dentist because he was having...
Like 200 and some odd teeth removed.
he was
Is it
having
a tumor or something?
It was like a tumor that had 200-something teeth in it.
Yeah, they're
And like they're little tiny teeth. And they said the record up until that point was 37. So he demolished the record.
It bugs me that just grows in tumors. Like, why do you
like
do that?
teeth and fucking hair.
Yeah,
and
there's a
shit.
girl that
Nails
had
and
one
shit,
like on
yeah.
her side, and it just had hair and teeth in it. And I was
But-
like,
but
"What
this
the
one was,
hell?
like,
It's got
actually, like,
tribbles
in
in
his
there."
mouth
In his
and
jaw.
How do you not
it was,
know? I mean, that would have to have been big at that point, wouldn't it?
No, they were little tiny teeth.
It was like I saw I didn't see anything more than just
Some
a
of them were
picture
large
of them.
teeth.
Yeah, there's the thing that I saw was just a picture of him sitting next to it, like kind of just after he's out of the surgery, and there was a one of those blue cloths over the surgical
The
thing. And there's
best part-
tons of little teeth on it.
The best part is he's sitting there, there's like a little tray with like the 200-something teeth, and like the dentist are all behind him like, yay! And the kid's like, oh fuck!
He's like, my face feels so. I bet the pressure relief is insane.
Billy
Lost
reminded
my
me.
superpowers.
Billy reminded me by saying, "How did you not go and get that checked out?" Did you hear about the Asian girl who kept her contact lenses in for
they're
6
talking
months,
about it.
and she went swimming in a pool, and water. I don't know if you know this or not, but water is extremely disgusting. And so the water had an amoeba get into her eye, and wearing contacts, even just for like a day, causes little teeny tiny abrasions on your eye because your eyes aren't supposed to have contacts on them. So having an amoeba in a
Make my eyes
crack
water
in
up.
your eye is the perfect breeding ground. So there were trillions of amoebas inside of her eye eating it away, and now she has to take like 7 drops a day, and each drop has to be 5 minutes apart. So you literally can't do anything. Like you can't even sleep anymore. Like you have to sleep in 5-minute bursts between taking eye drops.
Yeah, that's making my
And
eyes
they said that they're
I
probably
would
not
just
going to be able to save
remove
her
it.
eyes. They'll probably just have to remove her eyes.
At that point, I'd like just remove it.
But it's really weird. If you ever
wanna
look
see
up the picture of it, like
I've seen it.
the
It's
like
not
coloring
pretty.
of her eye almost looks like helix-like. It's like eaten away and spirally, and then it's got like a cataract on the front of it. There's like a white spot over it, but it's
Almost a
creepy.
prismatic sheen
Yeah,
to
it
it.
like looks
That's
really
She
crazy.
brought that one on herself. There's
But-
zero feeling bad for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I
apparently
mean,
it's
when
really common.
specifically tells you not to.
There's other people that have gotten the same thing just from like taking it out every day and rinsing it out, but they rinsed their contact lens case out with water, like tap water,
yeah.
instead of using the saline
saline.
solution, and that was enough that an amoeba got into the contact lens, and when they put it on just for the one day, it was enough that they ended
I
up losing
think
their
stories
eye.
like that are the reason why the 4 of us sitting here are wearing glasses.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. I was like, man, reading stories about this make me really glad I wear glasses and don't swim very often.
I don't care about the swimming, but the whole
I
contact.
swim all the time,
Yeah,
but
I swim. All the time. Well, not as much as I want to.
I don't know why. Yeah, I
I
love,
love
swimming,
swimming.
but I don't swim all the time. Like I've been swimming once in 2 years. I
Yeah.
swim all the time.
All the time.
I'm the Michael Phelps of my friends.
Yeah, I don't hate swimming. It's just I don't happen to do it very often, so I don't have to worry about amoebas in my eyes.
This is a really cool thing. A UK nanotechnology company has created and I guess let me preface this by saying that we're constantly on the search for super black paints and things like that. Things that
Oh
are
yes, I read
darker,
about this.
for things like telescopes and whatnot, because they need something that doesn't reflect light into the lens and shit. But this company's created the darkest material known to man. It's called Vanta Black. Consists of a dense forest of nanocarbon or carbon nanotubes. But basically, it says it eats 99.96% of all incoming radiation. It was so free. I actually have the picture
I saw a
somewhere
picture
on
of
here.
it, and it made me disturbed just looking at that.
It's disorienting.
It made
to look
me
at.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
The pictures I've seen are like near aluminum foil with like heavy duty lights shining on it. The aluminum foil is
Does it
reflecting
just
like a
look
disco
like a
ball.
hole, essentially?
It looks like you're looking at black space. There's just nothing there.
Like,
It's hard to
and
explain.
The cool
Black
thing
hair
is,
up something?
what they said was you could take this stuff and then give it like a really rough texture to it, and then when you look at it, there's absolutely no texture that you see because there's no light bouncing off to give you the idea that it's a shape.
Texture, yeah.
They
There's
said people,
just a gap from its silhouette, basically.
they said people like stared at it, and it's like driving them crazy. Like they're
Yeah,
not like
it
physically.
reminds me-
It's not like they have to like go to like
It re-
but they're
it reminds
like
me
I can't do this.
There's a room that they made that's like supposed to be the quietest room ever, and they built it so that it like
Anechoic chambers?
Yeah, it like takes
could
away
only-
like 99.9% of sound, so you can yell in it and you'll barely hear your voice at
falls.
all. So it like people can't spend more than 5 minutes in there because humans are used to being bombarded by sound
You can
constantly.
hear your heartbeat.
Yeah, so you literally drive yourself crazy.
Yeah, my friend Joe said he went on some trip he went on. I can't remember where, but he was in an anechoic chamber, which is what those are. And he said it's the weirdest thing because when you say something, you have this kind of expectant, like you expect to hear your voice echoed back to you in a way that you don't really realize that you do until you say something and your voice falls flat. He was like, it's almost like you say it and the words are just gone. He was like, I don't have a thing I can describe it to you in any way. He was like, it's like you say it and then it doesn't hang in the air like you're used to things after you say them. You can't. It's almost like it goes away so fast you can't even hear it in your own mind anymore. What you said, he's like, it's the most disorienting feeling. But and that's kind of the Apple actually tests their iPhones in their own anechoic chamber that they had built in Cupertino.
I saw a thing from that show with Stephen Fry over. I can't remember what it's called, but
QI,
yeah, where he goes there and he like pops a balloon or something, and it's just like
yeah, you hear the initial sound and that's it. No, it's like there's no
pop or anything.
Yeah, like it doesn't bounce
It
off
was
the
like
walls.
it was like the actual sound of the pin going into the balloon is what you hear,
Just the puncture.
and you don't hear the pop.
Yeah, it's very weird. But yeah, that's kind of the idea is that, and as Rob said, they were talking about you can crinkle the material up, you can bend it, you can fold it, you can hold it at an angle, but it always has the same appearance, and it's just such a disorienting thing to look at. But apparently they have massive orders already. They already went full commercial with it. They're able to commercialize it immediately. Yeah, they
Like
said
in paint?
It's not a paint exactly because it's
nanotubes.
basically carbon nanotubes. It's a structure. But they'll be able
It's almost
to
like a spray on plastic type concept.
could be. They didn't really say how it's applied at all, but they said they already have a lot of orders from NASA and other spacefaring agencies because if we can put something like that, the biggest, just to give you an idea, is that in our telescopes, things like Hubble and whatnot, 40% of the light that we pull into those telescopes is lost because we have it reflects off of other surfaces and whatnot. This should improve that so dramatically that it's they said it's a magnitude of 10 better than what we had before.
Jesus.
So this is going to dramatically improve our ability to see in space, and I'm very excited about
It just
that.
makes me uncomfortable looking at it.
It's
just like in a picture. It's
very
not even like in its
disorienting.
truest form, but looking at the picture, I'm like, I don't like it.
This
In
is
the-
the beginning
in
of
the
the first
comments-
cloaking shield right
In
here.
the comments for that, someone was like, "Oh, we found a blacker that's blacker than black. I'm totally gonna make my band that." And then I looked it up. There's a band called that already.
Vanta Black.
That's the same picture you
there's
just showed
already.
me, essentially.
Yeah, there's already.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Very interesting. And then the last thing, this one's really cool news, but not enough to be terribly excited about just yet because it's in the early stages. But in mice that had essentially type 2 diabetes, diet-induced diabetes, there's this new protein essentially that we injected them with that we thought would just be a quick treatment like insulin, basically an insulin replacement almost, that would, kind of level out their blood sugar. But what we're seeing is that not only did it level out their blood sugar for more than like a day or two, which is typically what insulin injections will do, it kept it going for a great deal longer and almost to the point where it's improving their bodies. Again, super soldier serum.
Yes.
Where it's improving and fixing the shit that may have been going wrong. It's not 100% confirmed yet. They're still doing a lot of testing on it, but their early reports are saying that they may have inadvertently not cured type 2 diabetes, but slowed it down to where it's almost like like arthritis, like it's a non-issue. You can kind of live with it.
That reminds me of something else.
Go for it.
Rob has arthritis now.
No, in just the number of canceling things out, there is a new condom being made in Australia, and it destroys 99.9% of herpes and a whole bunch of other things, but most importantly, HIV.
Interesting.
So
Destroy that.
Bleach.
it's got a special I can't remember what they call it, but it instead of having a traditional lubricant, it has like a medical thing in it that destroys bacteria and viruses and a whole bunch of other stuff. Just like when I read the thing, I was like, this seems like this can't be real. And then I read about it.
Import some and each go bang some skanks.
Well, what I was thinking is once this like goes around
okay
the world,
with that idea, Billy.
that's science getting rid of another disease. Basically, another virus is almost off the table for our first worlds.
I mean, we don't know if that would actually get rid of it per se, only because people wouldn't use them.
Well, yeah, but it's the same way that science should get rid of all these diseases that people that aren't vaccinating their children are causing problems
See,
with.
polio.
So, yeah.
See, measles.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I mean,
it's simple. Drown out the stupid.
yeah.
If only it worked that easily.
Just
We're already seeing that herd immunity isn't enough to keep us alive or keep us safe from them is the problem.
Yeah, that's the problem.
In places like New York, where pockets of anti-vax nuts are transmitting it to people who can't
On
be vaccinated.
purpose, yeah.
by like babies and the elderly or the immunosuppressed, things like that, who can't be vaccinated, and they're getting it because these fuckers have some ideology. But I remember an episode of Law and Order SVU being Brookwatched, and most of those episodes of that show, if you pay enough attention, are actually based on real cases that they've just kind of fancied up and made more dramatic. But one of them was a similar thing where an unvaccinated kid had given, I can't remember what it was, but some parent had some ideological bullshit reasons, some Jenny McCarthy shit, and her kid had given another kid the illness and the kid died from it. And the judge tried her for murder, which was an interesting thing, and I started looking it up, and apparently that really happened in New York. It ended up being successful and then getting thrown out later in an appeal, but some woman was tried for murder because she wouldn't vaccinate her child, and it killed somebody else's kid who was immunosuppressed. But as awful as that is anyway, interesting. But to conclude that statement is that like I said, it says the team found that sustained treatment with the protein in these mice, the insulin thing we're talking about, with the protein doesn't merely keep blood sugar under control, but also reverses insulin insensitivity, the underlying physiological cause of diabetes. Equally exciting, the newly developed treatment doesn't result in any known side effects we've seen yet, as some current diabetes treatments do. So, kind of big news in science this week anyway. It's been pretty good.
Awesome. Just hope there's no long-term shit that won't pop up for, 5-10 years.
Yeah, and this, like I said, this is also just in mice. So, so it definitely
obviously,
doesn't... when they move to pigs, that's when we really start getting excited because they share almost the same neurobiology as we do. Almost completely. Their spinal cords and things are almost damn near replaceable with humans. But they're so similar. But... so that's when we really start getting excited, which was what the pacemakers were. Those were all done in pigs. So that's the step right before monkeys, and then monkeys turns to people, as we're all aware.
And full circle, we're out.
Anything else to talk about?
Are we going to do a tea time? I know that last time Billy had one and we didn't end up doing it.
What was it?
I don't remember.
You said you wanted to know what people's Pathfinder or D&D style classes would be, and I was curious to do kind of what we were thinking a couple ones back and we fucked up with it, is to first go through and say what we think the other people in the podcast would be if they were a class. And then once that's done, then we can do it. But I mean, it's up to you guys to say whether or not, do you want to do it as what class would you want to be, or what class you kind of would be? Yeah.
Let's do like you said. Let's have each of us go around and say what the others would be, and then we'll and then I guess when it comes full circle, we'll say what we think. Okay. Who wants to start?
Not me.
You start, Rob. You've prepared.
Not really.
I'm demanding
I
that you
just
prepare.
threw it up really quickly.
I just threw it up hard.
Logan would be a paladin.
Think so?
Yeah.
Okay. I want your.
Wait, is this based on what we think he should be, or what we think he thinks he would be?
That's what I was asking you. I didn't really get an answer. Are we doing this by what you are, or what you would want to be?
Maybe we should do what we think he should be.
Okay, yeah, do that one. What you think? What you think I am, not what I think I am.
And ignoring personality, and don't take that the wrong way,
Hmm.
but ignoring personality, I would put you more along the lines of like a monk or something in that category. Like that just seems more your pace. You get.
Okay.
I don't know. He's naturally charismatic, and he
Ooh.
walks into a room and he demands leadership.
I like Rob. Rob is a good friend.
Well, monks have the leadership thing going for them. They're more wisdom and less charisma.
Let's talk about why I'm great. Let's keep going. What does everyone love about me?
Like, this is going
I
to suck
want
when
us
it comes
to
to me, and then everyone's like, I don't know, that's not a sack of
Which
shit in that
class
place,
is
Rob.
That's what
Which
I'm
class
worrying
has-
about already.
Which class has the prettiest eyes?
Who do you think
That's
is
what
the
Logan.
funniest of all the classes? Okay, Paladin is
Steve,
cool.
do you have an opinion on what Logan would be?
I'm pretty on board with Rob on that one.
Okay. What? So then, now I'm done. What do you think Billy would be? I'm done.
I don't know.
That was all your preparation.
Billy would be a rogue.
Yeah, Rogue
Yeah.
was my first thought, just because he seems like he always plays Rogue, so Billy and Rogue are like not
Either that or
separatable.
he would be the evilest sorcerer that ever
There it is.
existed.
You give me that kind of power, I'm
Billy would be
be
100% necromancer.
absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
question over. Billy
Either
doesn't even have to
either
go
way of
through
those
this.
makes sense to me. So
Magic
yeah.
would give me the ability to conquer my biggest fear.
Spiders.
Spiders!
Fire!
Zombie, kill that spider! Fireball! Alright, what about Steve then? I agree with that. I would have said
So does Billy. I'm right.
probably Necromancer would have been a good one for Billy.
Really, any sorcerer that's not fucking conjuration. Oh, shittiest class.
All right,
What about Steve?
let's give Steve the class all over his face, neck, and shoulders.
I would say for Steve, that is a tough one.
Can you mix the classes warrior and jester? Is that a thing?
Bard. I've played that character before. He was awesome.
I'm saving bard for Rob.
Jester isn't a class.
Well, okay. Like, in the
He
Advanced
invented one.
Player's Handbook,
Can you
there is a
combine
jester.
Bard and Asshole?
If we're only talking the 8 core, that changes everything.
What's there's a class that I'm Inquisitor. That was what you played, and in the first D&D game that I played with you, and that
It was like a specialized ranger, really.
that's kind of what I was thinking. Is that's I don't know, for some reason, maybe because that was the first class I saw you play, that sticks with me. As I can't defend it very well, but I mean, just kind of, in that you have kind of the jack of all trades thing going on a little bit, and then kind of a specialization at the same time. So I think that would, in my mind, that fits. Like I said, it's not very defensible, but I'm also the least experienced in D&D matters as you guys are.
If we're just going off of personality-wise, just personality in your case, it would probably be a true wizard. Because of your memory.
That's exactly what I was getting ready to
because of,
say.
like, the capacity for how you work in
Yeah,
general.
that's exactly what I was getting ready to
That's
say.
you. Like, maybe not the absolute thirst for knowledge. Not saying you're an idiot, obviously, but like you don't have that desire to keep learning all the time. But you just retain things so
Yeah.
well, and that
All of
fits
your
wizard
power
well.
is based out of the fact that you can reach into your memory and be like, I know this already. Here you go.
Wouldn't that be
This
more
is
like
information
Sorcerer,
you know.
though? And that wizards
No,
have
because
to
sorcerers
relearn
don't have
or something?
anything. They don't
They don't
memorize
memorize
anything.
They're
That's
all
what I'm
The
saying.
spontaneous.
wizards are the ones that memorize things. That's how he is. Steve is memory based.
But that's why I'm saying counter to that is that because wizards have to relearn new spells every
They
time,
don't
right?
relearn them; they just memorize them.
They prepare them.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
And
what I'm
that
saying.
It would
Steve
be
is-
more
Steve is
unprepared because you
prepared.
have the
Well,
memory to be like sorcerer.
no, because with a sorcerer, he only knows a limited number of the spell that just kind of come naturally.
That's more
to
like
him.
how I am.
Oh, okay.
I
With a
know a shit
wizard-
ton about Power Rangers, but if you just are talking about knowledge in general, I don't have a memory for anything
With
else.
a wizard, I'd be like, at the end of the night, I'd be like, okay, I know 3,000 spells. Which ones do I want to prepare for tomorrow?
Yeah.
I need to prepare those two.
You'd have
Okay,
to
what
spend
do I
time
need?
reaching
I
into
need
his
these
brain
things.
pulling it
Okay,
out.
what do I
Yeah.
need to do
Alright.
with that?
Makes sense
Well,
to me then.
sorcerers on the other hand are definitely me and Rob's thing where we
Yeah.
be sitting there like
Memory-wise,
we know
yeah.
like a small chunk of things, but we sit there and we just pull that shit out of our ass. And
Yeah,
just
we
keep
have
going.
Rain Man moments, but beyond that, we're like, I don't remember that dude. Like, you'll have to look at Steve.
So
There he is. I see him.
Uh,
Then okay, so I think we've all kind of talked together about what we think each other would be.
Yeah,
So-
Rob's
what
a
about
bard.
me?
Rob's a bard.
and then okay, yeah, Bard. That makes sense.
That was the most anticlimactic thing
Well,
ever. Yeah, Rob's
Billy
Bard.
said it, and I was like, sure. Now let's keep going.
I mean, they're basically like they're I mean, they're more charismatic than you in general, but for the most part, it's
He
your...
just called you an idiot.
Not at all.
No.
You're
People don't really like you, but if they did like you...
No, you're much quieter
No,
than
he
a
was,
bard is
he
in
was
general.
going low charisma as an ugly.
Well, because you're so ugly, is that why it would
Is
be
that why
a good fit?
nobody talks to you? Is that the problem?
I do have a beard, though, and girls constantly touch the beard, so that's got to be worth something.
That's probably like a
kinda-
plus
That's
one.
the
Find your
only
bard
reason
has
why
a
you're
beard.
an 8 right now.
It's a gnome with a beard.
A bard. They made me eat my bard.
My bard.
No, I would absolutely go, Rob. You inspire people with your music.
All right, cool.
I like it.
I'm a gnome
To
bard.
do what? Nobody knows.
So is that what you would say?
Have
Then
sex.
starting over, then saying about ourselves, is that what you would say about yourself, then, Bard?
I would either be... If we're just going with the base ones, then yeah, I would be a bard for sure.
Yeah.
If we were branching out, then I would want to be like one of those like weird like alchemists or one of the other like
The weird class.
the weird like secluded like I know things about what I want to know. Like
If you
I'm
count-
knowledge skill based kind
Yeah,
of
if you
shit.
count alchemists, they're an interesting concept because they basically they force themselves to tunnel vision something specific to
Yeah.
get results that they want,
Exactly.
which is a cool class.
Yeah. So
That's one that Matt just made up rules for.
Well,
all the time.
That was,
That on Star Wars
yes,
night.
it is. But yeah, that's the class that.
He would just make them up and you'd make them sound so complicated that Josh was like, sure, your character does.
How many dice do you roll, Matt?
Well, no, it's my open that door potion. That I just throw at the door and it opens.
No, it's bombs. It was bombs.
Bombs.
This is
You know,
open the
you're just
door
like throwing
bomb.
4 bombs around like they're all fireballs.
That's what he was talking about. He was like, the only thing that when we talked about it on Star Wars Night the other night was that he said that, I can't remember exactly, so I don't, Matt, if you're listening and I misquote you, I apologize, but he said something like, he felt that, he was like, I may have cheated with that only in that the dual wielding thing. He was like, there was no rules about whether or not you could dual wield bombs or not. So he's like, it didn't say explicitly, so I assume you could dual wield just like you could any other weapon. So he said, he was like, that's the only thing I feel like I may have been like, I'm not sure, so let's do it. And that's why he was throwing so many dice, because he was dual wielding tiny little bombs, throwing them. But yeah, that made me laugh. That's I remember at one point Josh was just like, "Fucking, just how many dice are you gonna roll, Matt?" Matt was like, "Because I'm gonna throw this bomb, and I'm gonna throw this bomb, and this bomb combines with this bomb, and it actually does this thing." And he was
It's
just
gonna
like,
bounce
Last thing
off
I'm
that
gonna
wall
do
and hit
is
him
drink
in
my
the back of
potion
the
that gives
head.
me +7 strength,
Yeah.
+4 constitution.
So I could throw the bomb harder.
and then the bomb's actually gonna do impact damage on their face, so they get hit with it. Okay, Steve, what class would you say you are?
If we're going off of what we should be, I guess
can count
I guess
prestige classes,
I guess
too.
I agree with the wizard now, because that makes sense. Now that you guys have said it,
Yeah, that's kind of how I was. With
I want to be a barbarian.
Don't we all, Steve?
So sad.
Don't we all?
No, I mean that's just a character I always play. I'm always
That's- yeah.
well, I technically I guess a fighter in D&D because I'm always the hammer swinging guy.
Yeah, he's
But
not
if
so
you
much
could
the
if you
sword
could use
board
a
fighter,
hammer
but
in WildStar, I'd be that guy.
Whatever
Yeah.
hits with that hammer. That's what I want.
That's what I want to be. That's just something where my brain always goes. Yeah, wizard makes sense. Part of me also wants to say bard, but not be musically inclined, but storytelling or jokes or whatever.
plus the knowledge anything bullshit checks.
Yeah, bardic knowledge that fits along that same lines.
Yeah,
I know
that
a
does
little
fit
bit
that
about
same sort of
everything.
thing.
So I just talked myself into bard. Bard. Werewolves. I'm supposed to be hunting werewolves.
I mean, that actually might be, if you take it just on the non-music aspects, it's almost the perfect fit, because the knowledge everything, jack of all trades, master of
Storyteller.
almost none.
Master of almost nothing.
Well, they've
Steve.
got usually 1 or 2 things they're pretty good at, and then other than that, they're just, above average at everything.
I like if you just change that around. You're like not good at much, just kind of a little bit good at anything.
I've got a +10 to sitting and watching TV.
That's all you need, really. What else could you need in life? Billy, what about you?
One of my very first characters I got to play, I multi-classed a lot in the beginning. And
God damn, he did.
well, I love the concept of mixing classes. I still do today in all RPGs. It's just you don't get to very often.
D&D sucks because you're like level 12 and Billy's like, well, I can hold a knife now.
That was the problem with multi-classing before, is it was just too tedious to actually do anything. And you know as well as anybody, obviously, but
Because you're not really a level 12 something, you're
You're like
3
half and
level
half and
4
half.
things.
yeah, the way, just to give a quick rundown of
Everybody knows
prestige
I was like
classes.
half and half and half.
Like, you would mix, 2 levels or 4 levels of something with 2 levels or 4 levels of something else. But the problem is, the way it's scaled is you were really shitty at this and you were really shitty at that. However, about 2 to 3 levels into the prestige class, after those 6 levels of shit, you got really awesome at some
Yeah.
things.
We
But,
just never got that far.
yeah, we never got to the 10th level awesome, like you do.
10th level awesome.
But one of my first classes, there was the dagger spell classes.
Oh,
And they were-
yeah.
They were a mix between either rogue and druid or rogue and sorcerer, and that was like right up my fucking craw hole.
Why do you think I said he'd be a rogue or a sorcerer?
It was just a cool con. Like, basically, they had all of the simple aspects of rogues. They gave up their tool set, basically their skill set at like knowledge and like debauchery. They still had their combat, and then they picked up like a specific school of magic from sorcerer, and they could weave the two seamlessly. Like, they could stab a target and inject a spell.
Interesting.
So
Here, we're gonna heal you.
well, I went with necrotic as
Remember
the school,
in Star
so-
Wars Saga Edition when you got stabbed with the fucking the stim packs, you took 1 point of damage because of the fucking
impact.
the needle poke did 1 point of damage and healed for however, but it also healed for
Because you're
dramatically
punching
more
them.
than 5
You're
health.
punching them. With
You're like "Tsh," and they're like, ow. Oh, okay, I feel better now. But yeah, I don't know. Like, for me, like I said, being the least experienced in that regard, I would say part of me wants to say something like wizard or sorcerer just because of like the knowledge aspects and things like that. But then another part of me wants to say like something like rogue or engineer type classes just because of the kind of tinkery nature. And when I say, I think, like picking locks and disabling devices and things like that kind of pops to mind as something that fits. But I don't know. I mean, like, I really like the way Paladin sounded now that you said that. So I'm like, all right, I'll do that. That's me.
You're the guy shit on everybody else's fun, though. That's a problem.
Yeah.
Fuck Paladin.
That's
so
Lawful
hard.
good assholes.
Yeah.
It's not that way anymore, obviously.
What would each other's classes be?
What do you mean?
Or not classes. What would
Alignments?
our alignments be? What do you think everyone else's alignments would be?
I can tell you what mine is right off the bat. That's not even a fucking...
What is
What is
chaotic
everybody
evil?
else's?
Chaotic neutral.
Yeah, Billy's chaotic neutral. Let's keep it realistic.
I think that'd probably be something like me too, is like chaotic neutral. If I'm guessing at myself. It'd be something like
Nah.
that.
I'd probably be neutral good.
Yeah, okay. That's also, yeah, I always
I would
mix around
totally
the...
pin most of the people we just know in general are going to be neutral good, or
Just kind of the
with
general.
a few lawful neutrals here
I
and there.
think I
depending
would be lawful neutral just because
Yeah.
everything with me is completely about order, and when people do things that I don't like, that doesn't fit in my paradigm or my ideology, I'm like, whoa, you're fucking up my flow here. Do it the right way.
Yeah,
I also like
Ooh,
that
man,
too.
I might tinker towards that one.
that's
Yeah.
why I said that would be the other one I would pick.
Creature of habit.
Like, I mean,
Yeah.
those two blanket a lot of people we know. We don't know how.
I mean, Rob's like
evil
Shiite lawful neutral, but
like none of us are committing genocide or
Yeah.
wanting to, or just secretly thinking about how we can
No,
kill
that
them,
attitude.
right? But
We're the Nerd Reich.
Oh,
and I did
man.
mention concentration camps in the last episode. I said that as I was listening to it and I was playing through it. I was like, "Oh, probably should edit that out of anything related to Reich." The past.
we've said master race a couple times.
It's like somebody's gonna listen to it and be like, "Listen, I've pinned it together over all these episodes."
They've got like a flow chart and like one of those like diagrams with the pins and strings, and they're like, we put it all together.
Over 54 episodes.
And
There.
I'm just tapping on her door. Carol! Carol! There is no Pepe Sylvia. These people are all there, and they're all pissed that they're not getting their mail, Charlie.
just randomly going to Sunny quote.
Yes. Charlie's vast conspiracy theory that he just makes up.
This is the part we edited out, right?
No, this is the part that proves that he had Sunny in his like spell list this session.
Or my bardic knowledge.
Yeah,
Or Bardic Knowledge, yeah, either one.
Told a story. Fuck you guys. You were entertained. Are you not entertained?
Not entertained. What else we got to talk about? Anything else?
That's usually our closer.
Rob, take us out.
I don't remember things.
No.
Hey, Steve. Remember our things. Bardic Knowledge. What are all of our
Find
things?
us on Facebook, facebook.com/NerdWarsPodcast. Visit our Twitter, to quote Chris Jericho is the way he always says it. On the Twitter! We are at Nerd Wars Podcast. Or no, Nerd Wars Pod.
Yep.
Nerd Wars Pod.
Is, that is also our Gmail, nerdwarspod@gmail. Go to our website, nerdwarspodcast.com. Find us in the streets. High five us.
Don't
Ice
let me
cream
catch you on
cone?
the
I was going to
street.
say buy a Sun King at Gen Con,
Here's Billy's
but-
phone number.
Don't let me catch you on the street.
You look at me like, wait a
I
minute.
gotta change it anyway. There's people wanting money.
Aren't there always?
All right, so make sure you check out our website where I've been trying to update it more regularly.
Yeah, Rob's
On that
done a great
note,
job of that too.
On
by
the
way.
off chance that you are a listener, Rob did mention it.
I'm guessing if they're listening, they are
100%
listening.
Hang
chance.
on.
If you've been here for the last
Let
hour
me
and a
finish
half,
my sentence, guys. If you are a listener that we don't know personally and
Okay.
you're going to be at Gen Con,
Come and find us.
yeah, we'll be at the tapping party specifically, so we'll be wandering around. You've seen our faces if you've looked at our website. We're not pretty, but they're...
And we'll be at Gen Con specifically.
Well, yeah, but that's out in a needle in a haystack. At least the tapping party's
Shit, I find
centralized.
people all the time at Gen Con.
I'm
I don't
kind of
know.
tall and
Last
half
year
of
we
my
found
head
somebody
is
with one of our
blonde.
shirts on,
So
remember?
It was Rob's friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, nonetheless, we found him.
We found him, and it was his
and I never
That
saw
was
him
the
that
weird
whole entire
part.
Yeah,
Gen
yeah.
Con,
Rob
so-
wasn't there.
Or was it me and you?
Yeah. We found him in line for the food trucks.
Yeah.
Find us. Look at us. Look for us towards the food trucks around noon, because
Between
we
noon
will
and
be
2.
there.
Or just any food places in general. We'll probably be there.
If you want to check every 10 minutes, probably safe bet.
All right, guys.
As always, I have been and will always be your Lord and Savior, Captain Rob.
I'm the Podmeister Logan. Billy. I hate editing out your silence, Billy. Say something for the love
Well, I
of
don't know what
Christ.
to say.
You say your
Bitch
goddamn name, Billy.
What's my name?
Bitch wrinkle.
Trickle Whitaker.
Why you gotta drop the last name?
Because that's the way that your name is now.
And my initials are BWW.